Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and joining me this week is my go-to podcast compadre, Mr. Joe Lever. Joe, how's it going, pal?
Good evening.
Hello,
Mr. Good.
Are you like a James Bond villain now? You look sinister.
Oh, I got a comfier chair, new location.
Yeah, you're changing locations, man. You're changing more locations than I don't know, like Carmen Sandiego. Like, where in the world are you? There's a throwback for you, everybody.
Well, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Oh, well, that'd be kind of bad for the podcast, I think, going forward, because it wouldn't be a podcast.
That, shall we? Happy 100th.
Yes, exactly. Well, hey, man, happy 100th to you too. Happy 100th to our Legionnaires as well. Yes, this is the 100th episode of the Critical Podcast. I mean, I can't believe it. It's really cool. Thank you. Joe, you've been on a vast majority of the shows, most all of them. We've had some really great guests on. We've had Levi, obviously. We've had John, my brother-in-law, but we've also had Kyle Bossman a few times and Ben Moore from the Easy Allies. So thank you to everybody, and thank you especially to everybody who's watching. But if you don't know what we're talking about, if you're like, what the heck is the Critical Podcast? Critical Reviews, what the heck?
Shame on you.
Yeah, shame. We're talking about movies, games, TV shows, all the things we love so much. And this week, we want to especially kind of focus in on some of the great questions. We have some really fun game stuff to play here to celebrate our 100th episode. But before we do that, we're going to get into some of the news. So, Joe, are you ready for some sweet news?
Oh, I don't know. You said something about games and fun questions, and now
I know.
All right, let's go through the news. Let's get to the games.
Yeah, we're going to get to the game. So first off, Predator. Predator has gotten pushed back from August 3rd to September 14th. Honestly, for me, all I'm thinking, Joe, is, the more time, the better. Get it closer to Halloween if you can. The closer you get to that, like, the better. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Do you agree with me? Is that weird?
Jimmy, it's like a rare cut of steak. Really expensive, nice cut of grass-fed Angus beef.
Okay.
And you want to get that marinade in there, right? So you lay it down a nice marinade, you baste it real good, you cover it, and you put it in the fridge just for a little bit, right? No. You give it a few more hours. Let it really sop up those juices. Give it another baste. And throw that on the grill, and there you got yourself quite the meal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was a metaphor, people. It was to apply to the whole movie, getting better.
Oh, there we go.
I honestly don't know if is this due to production issues, like they had to do some reshoots, or they're doing some work to add to the story, or what?
No, I heard that they also pushed back that Alita Battle Angel pretty significantly, or Battle Angel Alita pretty far back too. But for this one, I don't know if it's that, or if I'm not sure if there's another film coming out around that time that I just wanted to avoid. I think September is not a bad month. There's not really a bad month to release a movie anymore. And I think this is not a bad spot for this film to be in, because September is kind of like, yeah, you can still play off maybe kind of the jungly hot of summer here in the States, but it's kind of getting into the creepiness of October. So that's what I'm playing. That's my own headcanon. I'm sure there's some reason why they kind of push it back, but I say give it more time to polish, like a video game, give it time. Like, I'd rather have you take a little more time and work on a few scenes or set pieces or something. Like, most of it's probably going to be done, around August 3rd anyway. But if they have a few extra weeks to add that next layer of polish or editing or whatever they need to do.
The fit and finish.
Yeah.
A little bit of time for that fit and finish.
Exactly.
That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
I like your seasonal play there, Jimmy. Like, give them a release date that's a little more, you're just coming off the high heat of the summer. I don't know. Whatever,
yeah.
Predator only comes around once every so many years on the hottest day of the year.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm really hoping that it's a good film, because I really love Predator, and I'm not sure where Predator is going to fall after Disney's acquisition of all this stuff, because I think Predator is part of that. So this might be the last time we see Predator in this, whatever world they're trying to make here. They might, totally reboot that universe. They might try to totally reboot it with this one. I have no idea, but I'm just excited to see it, because I like the Predator. I really like the Predator. All right, Joe, moving on from, we're still talking about Predators here, but we're going to talk about Assassin's Creed for a minute. And I read something today that was very interesting, I thought. So apparently, Ubisoft is concentrating on Assassin's Creed Origins instead of working on another Assassin's Creed title, which is really interesting to me. Yves Guillemot, the CEO, he said, "We're concentrating at the moment on Assassin's Creed Origins, for which we are going to launch a few other DLCs, so you will be amazed at what will come from Assassin's Creed Origins. That's the only thing we can say now." And he talked about this. He went on to say that it's almost double players' playtime versus other Assassin's Creed titles. And they're apparently the executive director. He said that this is the comeback of Assassin's Creed, the franchise. So we are seeing this kind of games as a service thing going on. You know, like a lot of people are trying to do the microtransactions, the loot boxes. But with Assassin's Creed, I think it's kind of fascinating that instead of making a brand new game, you know, like right away, it sounds like they're just going to try to add on to this game for a long time, which I guess in a way is a bit easier than coming up with a brand new setting and all of that. I just want to know what your feelings were on this, Joe. Do you like this idea, or would you rather just be like, hey, no, go back to the old, like, start working on the next one? You know, what do you think?
One simple statement, Jimmy. Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that thing just prints money. And
Yeah,
that's probably a model they're looking at, honestly.
Exactly. Grand Theft Auto did it. Let's just take a good base. It's a good foundation. Let's build it up from there. Build the world's tallest building.
Yeah. Well, and he went on to say this too. Guillermo said, like, with more time to polish our games, we're talking about movies with that, we've finally been able to release 3 high-quality titles since August. We fully embrace the significant increase in resources required to develop ever bigger games. I think that says a lot. Like, even though I'm always thirsty for the next new thing, I would rather have Assassin's Creed say, like, hey, let's take a step back, look at other things that have been successful, like Grand Theft Auto, where they just kept adding on to it. And it wasn't like, yeah, we got to start working on the next Grand Theft Auto. Like, they're doing Red Dead. Like, they're doing a whole different thing. So, you know, I would say take more time to work on your base game, like Origins did. Like, they took like 2 years to work on that, polish it up, make it great, and then add on to it. And then maybe in 2-3 years, they start talking about the next Assassin's Creed title, which I think has been rumored to be Vikings, which is cool, but you can't do it right now because of God of War. It's too close to that. Ooh. Also, do Assassins fit in super well with the Viking lifestyle is my thought. You know, it's like, are you going to be like kind of sneaking around? Like, I'm sure that happened, but like as a Viking, it's more like, I'm going to meet you on the field of battle, you know, and beat you in with a shield and an axe instead of like, you know.
I think with any of those old timey storylines, they can kind of make that kind of stuff work. I think they could make something work there. I think they could. Yeah. But I think Vikings is genre is the wrong term, and race is the wrong term. What would Vikings be considered again?
I guess you could go with like a period or just like a setting, you know, of like Norse.
Sure. Yeah, Norse mythology. That all. Well, that
not even. They kind of
mythology, but Norse.
Yeah, culture. But Assassin's Creed is already getting into that Origins, which I love. They like you. I fought Sobek, a gigantic crocodile god. So it's like that's probably in the cards. They're probably going to just wait for God of War to come out and be like, all right, which Norse mythology things did they not tackle? And we will tackle those things. Be like, yeah, get those in there. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I think it's a doable thing, but I think the Viking culture as a whole has a pretty passionate following.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have Vikings, a TV show. You know, Game of Thrones kind of blurs the lines on that a little bit. You can get kind of that Viking-esque vibe through certain features in that show. So I just think that there's a very good market for that right now. It's very marketable. So maybe a good move on their part. So yeah. I'm on board with that.
I think so too. Like I said, I want to go back to this, and like the word that we're seeing here, and it's probably going to be a buzzword moving forward, is that some of these big games are coming out, and especially like Assassin's Creed Unity that had a lot of issues with its polish. They had this kind of the weird faces, and there's a lot of bugs in that game. I think what they're learning is that unlike a Madden or a Call of Duty where that stuff can really be handled in a timely manner, with these big open world games, if you're making one every year, even if multiple studios are working on it, there's no way to like really have a good handle on polishing, like giving that it's 6 months to be like, all right, let's go and find every possible bug we can have, like all the playtesters work on every little detail to make sure we're shipping out the best possible thing. because you look at Red Dead Redemption and like Grand Theft Auto, those games are absolutely enormous. But I could probably I can't think of too many instances that either of those games had like a weird bug or a super bad glitch in them that I was like, oh, took me out of the experience and had a problem and people hate it. I'm sure there are instances of people could be like, oh, this horse was like, flying in the air or something. But they took
Grand
time.
Theft Auto, the multiplayer features of trying to get together with people.
And that's just like one thing. And I definitely, that is a problem. But once you get in there, it's not like the game itself doesn't have those issues. And I think taking that time and not feeling the need to constantly put out a new game for a business model is good. It must feel nice to them because it's like they don't have to release a new Assassin's Creed game this year or even maybe in 2019, which I'm fine with. I love Assassin's Creed. I got a big poster right there, and I really enjoy it. But I'd rather have them take a few years. They can add a bunch of DLC to Origins. I'm not a big DLC guy. We'll see if it's cool. Maybe I'd be interested, but I'd rather have them wait and make something really good as opposed to just being like, yep, we're back to the same old model, like Call of Duty or Madden just coming out every year. Because if you crank it out every year, it feels less special. I think that's the biggest part for me. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So this is good enough. This is good enough for me. It's good news. I like this. I want them to take their time with it. And, they kind of tease that it's going to be something crazy. They just released this kind of discovery mode, which is really fascinating. You guys should check it out. I might go back to Assassin's Creed to look at this, but it's you basically walk around the map and they have somebody narrate a bunch of information for you. So it's like watching like a History Channel thing, and they're like, oh yeah, this is the Great Pyramid of Giza, and they talk about it and all this stuff, and they show all these things. It's like, wow, like this might be like the future potentially if they do it well enough of like how you teach in schools. Like maybe, like I would be way more interested in learning about Egypt if I could do it through Assassin's Creed Origins. Like I don't have to go around killing people like in the classroom, like teaching kids that, but like walk around this world. Hey, look at this beautiful world that they made, like recreated to scale, like almost.
Yeah. Eventually that's how kids will learn is through video games and TV.
Yep. You hear that, teachers? Your days are numbered.
Yeah. Better crank out those educations.
I better get that 10-year right now if you can. All right, just go figure that out. I hope there's like one teacher who listens to this and they're like, oh
God, what is this? What is this? Assassin's Creed.
Don't be a history teacher anymore. All right, like just start moving in to like something else. Something maybe like home ec, like something with your hands, like a shop class teacher. Because I'd love to see a kid learn through a video game how to like use a welding torch. That would be very dangerous. I don't want to see it, but that's all I'm trying to say. Anyway, Joe, we're moving on. How do you feel about the Joker, just as a character in general? You a big fan of the Joker there, Joe?
I am a fan of the Joker for the multiple iterations we've seen. I think he is he's a fun concept. I don't think he can really function as the baddest of the bad or the big bad in a superhero blockbuster feature. It's kind of hard for the Joker to be considered larger, something greater or more substantial. It's not these movies, the new DC universe. It's not quite like the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah,
that's a little more intimate and kind of almost has a much more realistic vibe to it, where it's more of like crime, and then Batman is a vigilante, whereas DC now you're into this whole space universe, cosmic god mythology type melting pot, and so it's a little different animal. So it's hard to get somebody who seems as insignificant as the Joker brought into the fold or the plot line for that. But so he almost feels like less impactful.
Sure. Yeah.
He's just kind of iconic for the look, the laugh, the Dark Knight probably made him more iconic than he ever has been. But this is different now.
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen the movie Gladiator, Joe?
What's that?
Gladiator, Russell Crowe. Are you not entertained?
Yeah, is that like in what was that, like in ancient Egypt where they fought beneath
Rome.
the pyramids?
Roman
No, I'm kidding.
Colosseum.
I just want to see how angry people get.
I was like,
wow, this guy did not stay awake in history class, like at all.
Yeah. Well, you remember the bad guy from Gladiator, right? Joaquin Phoenix, the guy he plays the bad guy.
I know the name and everything. I can't put a face to the name.
Well,
Hakeem?
well, soon. Don't worry about it.
Hakeem?
No. Soon he's gonna be very possibly the new Joker in that Joker standalone film that DC is doing. It's being produced by Martin Scorsese. It's gonna be like in the 1980s, more of like a mobster film, but it's gonna have nothing to do with the DC universe stuff. It's not going to affect Jared Leto's Joker in any way. Now, I don't know why DC feels the need to do this, and it sounds like they're doing the same thing with Harley Quinn, where she even said, maybe she just misspoke that one time, Joe, we watched that thing with Margot Robbie, where she said, like, it's going to be completely different than the DC stuff or the Gotham City Sirens or whatever. But sounds like DC is saying, like, hey, we have these properties, we have this universe kind of that's coalesced a little bit, but let's try to make some money and use some of our best and well-known characters and just give them one-shot movies and see how that goes. Because right now, it feels like if this is the kind of the strategy they're using, they're kind of just throwing knives at a dartboard in the dark, you know? Like, you're just kind of like
darts at beer cans?
It's just, they're just throwing and they're hoping something sticks. But even if it does stick, it's like they can't even check because they turned all the lights off and they don't know where the light switch is anymore. But Joaquin Phoenix, I know you don't really know him super well. I only know him primarily from that. I think he was also the voice of the main bear in Brother Bear.
This crazy looking guy looks like he's done a bit too much coke.
You know what? That's the guy. And he was actually going to potentially be Doctor Strange a while ago, which I thought was a good choice. I'm happier that we have Benedict Cumberbatch, because I think Benedict Cumberbatch is like perfect for that role.
I mean, it's Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah. But Joaquin Phoenix, it sounds like he is going, not a lock yet, but it sounds like he's going to be the new Joker. Sure. You know what? DC, do whatever you want. Like, doesn't really matter to me.
I'm starting not to care anymore. It's hard to care anymore.
Especially if Ben Affleck doesn't care. It's hard when like one of your biggest stars is like, nah. You're like, you're playing the most like interesting, cool character, and he's like, man. Man, I want the video. I want the video evidence. I want to see Ben Affleck going. They're like, Ben, 75 million, and he's like, like 100 million. He's like,
200 million.
He's like, yeah, see, I don't think you can. But the thing is, you said Joker doesn't really fit in like a Justice League movie. He wouldn't necessarily be the main threat. He could be part of like the Legion of Doom. He could be like he with Lex Luthor and Deathstroke and Bane or whatever, you know, they do, like kind of a big conglomeration. But in a Batman standalone film, he's a great, just like the main villain, because he's, you know, a great antithesis, a foil to Batman. However, with this one, I don't know what they're going to do if he's going to be the focal point. It seems like we're getting more of these movies which will be focused on the villain, which we'll be talking about one of those soon. But I just have no idea. I just want to see anything from this. I know we're a ways out from seeing that. I'm not a huge Scorsese fan. I'm going to say that right now. I've watched his films. I'm not a huge fan. I'll just say that right now. And I guess I just don't care about this movie. Joe, do you care about this movie?
No, I don't.
All right.
It's a dart that's going to hit the board and fall out immediately. Like it's going to be oh.
But maybe we'll like it because I'm probably going to have to review it at some point. We'll just have to.
All these offshoots, and it's totally unrelated to it's just, okay, yeah, just make a freaking molten pile of crap right on the front porch.
Speaking of DC and their molten pile of crap on the front porch, it sounds like we got a few deleted scenes that were released recently, with one in particular that we both liked a lot with Henry. Oh, spoiler alert for Justice League, but Henry Cavill he's Superman, he comes back to life. He's walking around the ship, which is presumably after his fight or whatever. He goes home to the farm and probably goes back to the ship. But he's walking around, walks by a few like suits, and one of them is like this kind of big metallic one. It might be from the 1990s cartoon in which he would wear that and go up into space, and he could talk to people back on Earth. Apparently he couldn't fly in space without oxygen before, maybe in the cartoon. I don't remember. And then there's also the black suit, the one that had been teased by Henry Cavill, I think, like back on Instagram a while ago. And people were like, oh my god, Black Suit Superman. And
yeah,
then
I was one of those people.
yeah, I know, I was excited about it. And then he's looking at something else, which is presumably the suit that he ends up wearing at the end. Because before the show started, I told Joe, I was like, the old one he has probably has a gigantic hole in it, like right where he got super death punched by Doomsday. So he's probably like, I gotta suit up. You can't, like, how great would that last scene have been if he would have come with like a flannel shirt and just some pants, and he's just like beating up Steppenwolf, and he's like, I didn't even put on my real suit, dude.
The suit's like 50% of the power.
Yeah,
I'm only giving you half right now. Half.
Yeah, it's really fine. Yeah, it was kind of cool to see that. It just kind of goes to show that even though they came out and said like, oh, there isn't like a Zack Snyder cut or whatever WB and DC had said, that there are clearly scenes in there that were going to be very different. It sounds like a lot of things like that have happened recently. There was even mention recently of Mark Hamill said that he got to work with Laura Dern on Star Wars in some capacity, but that scene got deleted. So it sounds like there are some big movies with some big scenes that have been taken out, and those fans who are angry about those movies are like, if I would have gotten those deleted scenes, it would have been the movie I wanted. It's like, maybe, I don't know, like Black Suit Superman would be cool. He didn't put the black suit on, it was just there, so it's an option for future. I think if we would have seen it in the movie, people would have been like, oh, he might put that on in the next one. Right, Joe? Like, they'd make that precedent where you'd be like,
well, that's the thing. They kind of open, okay, they don't open new doors. They just crack them open just ever so slightly, just a little bit. Just give you a little taste, and you want the whole bite, but you can't get it. Anywho, it's even more than that. The black suit thing is probably the most well-known piece of it right now, but I had been kind of doing a little searching around, and there was a bunch of stuff on like the history of Cyborg, or like himself before he became Cyborg.
oh yeah,
okay, maybe they cut that out a little bit so that they could save that for a Cyborg standalone of sorts, or a future film. Yeah, well, okay, but it might have helped us develop a little bit more of an attachment to the character. Or a bit more of a relation to him, to be able to relate to him. But they cut out some of that. What else did they cut out? Oh, Zack Snyder, he likes to visually tell a story, and I feel like Justice League, if you really think about it, and it's extremely evident when you realize what they cut out, but it jumps around a little bit. All of a sudden, Bruce Wayne's in a fishing village. Okay.
Yeah, on horseback.
Okay, yeah, but there was a lot more to that too. Like Zack Snyder kind of showed a little bit of the journey to get there, and it was interesting. And then there was also a bunch of stuff that they cut out about Aquaman and how, in his kind of status, mental state, as to he doesn't feel like, he feels like an outsider, like he doesn't belong at home in the sea or on land, kind of a deal. Like his people don't want him. He's not one of the people on land. There was a little bit of that, and it doesn't sound like it was substantial or insanely long. It was just a little bit of something to kind of give you some investment in the character. And I think that was one thing, just with that little bit of information I stumbled upon. They even had video of this stuff, and I don't know if this is in the extended cut stuff or what that you can buy, but I thought, man, as a fan, and as much as I liked the movie as it was, excuse me, Red Bull burps, I really would have enjoyed it with that stuff in it. I think it would have added a little bit of cohesiveness and a little bit more of just investment into the film overall.
Sure. So you're saying that like Cyborg and Aquaman both felt like they were outsiders. Maybe they could have tackled that in films leading up to this, and then when they finally got to be in the Justice League, that would have been like, oh great, we're all like, it's a team of weird people just like me, and we would have had more interpersonal connections like how Marvel does it. It's like, it's not so hard, guys. This isn't rocket science. This is so much, don't be stupid. Like, like you really hamstrung the possibility of a lot of cool things here, and like people aren't really jazzed to see like Aquaman now. Like, I hope Aquaman does well, but it's like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Cyborg film, great. Flash movie, cool. What, we have a Flash TV show, why should I go see this? It's like, I don't know. Like, if you were to ask me that, I'd be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what you're gonna see on this movie that's like, oh, this is much different. then because they're probably just going to do Flashpoint Paradox and just do the whole thing up. But yeah, it is sad that we kind of missed out on those things. But because they cut the runtime down, down to 2 hours so they could show it more frequently, that stuff was probably the first stuff to go. They're like, all right, well, we don't need to have Aquaman be like, oh, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. Because in that fishing village, it seemed like everybody loved him. Like, they're like, hey, what's up, Aquaman? He's like, yeah, here's some fish or whatever. It's like,
put it on his tab.
Yeah, exactly. It's very much like that. And it's like, yeah, cool. Or he would like save them during like when the ice would come in and they couldn't get supplies. He would still find a way to get that stuff to him. It's just stuff like that that is the big stuff that we should focus on. And I think Justice League like has so much it wants to say, and it feels so bloated because they have to cram all that in 2 hours. And they even include that crazy flashback to like that amazing war sequence that is so insane. And if you don't know like a few of those characters, you're like, what is happening? Like, like we have aliens, we have Amazonians, we've got gods, and they're all fighting a bunch of these parademons, and you're like, what? Like, but it's really cool. Those flashbacks, that stuff's great. It's just, you need to have time to, build up into it. But yeah, we'll see if those deleted scenes get incorporated into an extended cut. I would love it if they did, because I know a lot of people like you, Joe, like myself, we're fans of this stuff. And the more, like, I don't want to say always more is better, because that's not always the case, but in this instance, especially if we're getting into the actual more of like the superheroes and the comics and all that stuff, and like the alternative winks and nods to other suits and other things like that, that's what people want to go see, because then they start thinking, oh, cool, like they could do this Superman thing now, and they could follow this comic line, or where are they going to go next? Like, you got to keep that conversation rolling.
Yeah, and keep people on their toes and add suspense and mysteriousness to your tale.
Yep.
Keep cracking the doors open. Don't open them all the way. Maybe open one or two, but keep a bunch of them just kind of cracked open. Give people a taste.
Yep. And then spoiler alert, but my boy Deathstroke finally getting his big screen debut alongside flipping the worst Lex Luthor ever. And is that Deathstroke film still happening? I don't know. I hope so, because I love him, and I think everyone else would love Deathstroke too.
It was kind of a cool moment.
It was cool, but he doesn't say much. He's just kind of like, Luthor, you better not be wasting my time. It's like,
yeah, he doesn't need to, though. And I prefer it that way.
I just hate that he was playing, the first time we saw him was opposite Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. But that right there should be something that's included, not as like a post-credits thing. That should be there to be that carrot on the stick. That people are like, whoa, okay, I'm not a huge fan of Jesse, but who's this guy? Like, I want to know more about this dude. Like, the guy with the crazy mask and the eye patch and the swords. It's like, he looks so cool, and it's like, what if he never gets a chance to shine? It kills me. It kills me, Joe. Anyway, talking about cool suits, the last bit of news I want to talk about this week.
That's a nice shirt there, Jimmy.
Oh, why, thank you so much. Actually, I was going to wear a different one, believe it or not, because I do have one that is more fitting for this thing that we're going to talk about. But I figured, a little representation here for the show, 100th episode and all that. Yeah, but we're going to be talking...
Nice suit.
Oh, wait, suit, short, whatever. Anyway,
it's a Critical Review suit.
Yes, for our audio listeners, I'm wearing a shirt that says Critical Reviews, red critical, white reviews. We're talking about this guy, and I'm pointing at a little figure of Venom. We finally got a Venom trailer, and we didn't see Venom.
Well, hold on, we saw the symbiote.
But we didn't see Venom, and I think this is very intentional. A teaser trailer, that's the name of it. But they only have one card to play, and that's Venom. They're not even going to show him, which sucks. It would be cool. I've heard other people talk about it. Like, what if we saw like a silhouette of him, or like 1 foot step out of an alley, or anything? It would be really great. But if you haven't seen the trailer yet, you should go watch it and then come back. But it basically looks like Tom Hardy, the action movie / he might be sick. He might be a homeless man. Like, Joe, is this like, if you didn't know about Venom, like this trailer doesn't really tell you much of anything, does it?
Not really. It seems kind of like a, yeah, it doesn't really tell you much. You kind of get the whole crash sequence, the whole accident. You can kind of put 2 and 2 together as, okay, what's that weird substance in the big vial that they have? Yeah, I mean, if you know nothing about Venom, which I just can't even fathom, but I don't understand. What?
Yeah, who wouldn't not know about Venom?
I know. It's ridiculous. I'm trying to get my thoughts in a coherent order here, but I'm trying to replay the trailer.
You think about it. I'll go through it a little bit. So basically, It's a basic action film. It's a basic, like, it's not, it doesn't really show you anything out of the ordinary. It's like he drives between two cars that like flip, and like you don't see anything. Like, it just seems like the most basic possible, no plot story even. It's just like he's like, oh, San Francisco, like walking around, and I'm like, what? Like
Yeah, you kind of get that homeless vibe from him a little bit, or that maybe kind of like PTSD or some sort of depression, something of that nature. Down in the dumps, tough luck, and then I think it's gonna come to a culmination of. There was a line in there or something about something. Sometimes things just match up. Sometimes things just come together in a perfect moment or something like that. I swear there was something of that nature in there. Obviously, I think they're alluding to the symbiote, melding with him, matching up. And they show that moment of him in, I don't know if it was a hospital bed. And
like an MRI or something like that. Yeah.
And he's just yelling and screaming. I think that's the moment where he bonds with the symbiote. Obviously, you're just not seeing it.
Yeah, well, they show like some of the black stuff go up his neck, like up his veins or something.
I did not see that.
Joe, sit up. Joe, check the trailer out again. Like the last second of it, he's like, ah! And it's like,
say, Jimmy, you might play a pretty good Venom there.
we would play the best Venom. See, I'm going into character right away. Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. I get why they want to hold back. I understand that. I do, but this is the one thing that you're going to get people excited about is the look of this character, because we're all paying. It's like when you go to see Godzilla. Like, they did a pretty good job in those trailers of like showing just a little bit, sometimes a little too much, but they just kind of tease it. But it was still, that's the point. It's called Godzilla. I'm going to see Godzilla. When you watch a Venom trailer, and now this is again, and they could be like, oh, it's a teaser, but they don't really show Venom. Like, the thing you're going to see. It would be like if you go back to Spider-Man, if they're like, hey, this is a Spider-Man trailer, they only showed the Peter Parker moments. It's like, all right, if you show him jumping over a gate or doing some stuff, and at the very end you see him like grab the suit, then he'd be like, oh, cool, that was a sweet teaser. Oh, Joe's watching it right now.
I have to do it.
I think it's a boring trailer, personally. There's not a lot to it. I think they'll wait, a couple of months, and then they'll release like the big one. And be like, yeah, this is Venom. Here he is in action at the very end of the trailer doing something crazy. But yeah, again, too, I think that they'll go with like the crazy, scary Venom, like the one you kind of see a little bit here. They're not going to go with an Agent Venom. I think they're going to go with like creepy alien, like super like kind of thing.
Well, and it's also October, and I think from what we've heard prior to today, they're going to embrace the horror aspect of it all. I'm going to turn the volume up. Why not?
Whatever it is, you used to be one thing. Now you're something else.
So cliche.
Oh, there's a symbiote in the vial.
We all have our own problems.
And it's in that truck.
Our own issues.
Yeah.
What makes all the computers on the desk fly away?
There could be somebody with telekinesis.
Yeah, what the heck's that, huh? I don't know. I like the way they went about it. I saw the veins at the neck.
Okay, good.
Watch it. So yeah, obviously he's in the MRI, and that's the moment that it starts to kind of take over. Sweet. I think they really need to play on the horror aspect and go for that alien, sinister, scary Venom. Somebody that's gonna really, when you see him, it's impactful. It's not just, I don't want to see freaking Spider-Man with big teeth. All right.
Sure. Yeah, I get that. And I hope they do that too. The thing is, we just don't see it in this trailer. The big thing we see is basically Tom Hardy, who looks just like Tom Hardy. And it's weird because the guy can transform and look like different characters, but they're like, just don't shave for a couple of weeks. We won't mess with your hair or anything. Just
Yeah. But, I like the way they went about this. It's very clipped. I mean, there's
Yeah.
not much that's coherent about it, which is okay. And I really hope, do not pull a freaking Jurassic World and show it. The Indominus Rex was what that damn story was based off of, and they showed it through everything you saw.
Yeah, you're totally right. Well, yeah, especially when they showed it turn around and roaring with an explosion behind it. It seems like that's the new Jurassic World thing to do. It's like show a main predator with an explosion behind it going like, ah, like that. It's like, don't show Venom being like, fire! Like, like he doesn't like fire. He's gonna be like, I gotta get out of here. He's like attacking it like he's like attacking a family, and it's like the kid's birthday. He's like, get it away. Like the little candles.
Blow out the candles!
Make a wish. Yeah. We would like you to make a wish. I also wouldn't mind it too much if like Venom was on the run and he had to break into a family's house and they're all terrified of him. And he's like, shh, everybody be quiet. he's like standing against the wall and he's like, everybody be cool. Like he's like big and scary, but he's also like afraid of the cops. He's like, if they shine those lights on me again, I don't like it. Anyway.
Okay. Sorry, excuse me. But does Venom talk?
Yeah. He'll do the whole we, they always like to talk in that, like we are going to do this, like we are Venom, kind of thing.
I'm interested to see how they play that one.
I wonder if they'll do a lot of internal monologue or if they'll shoot to like inside inside Eddie Brock's mind, where he's like in a black void and there's like the eyes that like look at him and it talks to him and he talks back to it. To kind of go back and forth where it's like, hey, I'm Eddie over here and that's the symbiote over there. But together, they're both like at the same time, they say something like, we have to do this, kind of thing. So I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah. I wonder if they'll almost do like a first person view. Like they'll do almost like the Alien Covenant scene where you see from the alien's perspective running through the ship.
Maybe.
Not quite that much, but like something of that nature. And it's almost like Eddie speaking to himself kind of a deal.
Or they might just make it completely internal where he's like sitting on a park bench and he's like, I don't want to do this. And they might make it two separate things instead of the whole like combined thing. I hope they don't do that though, because I want more of the whole like, we have decided to kill you. And people, because that when one person says that to you, especially when he's not in the Venom, like he like walks up to you as Eddie and he's like, we have decided to kill you. And then it kind of goes all over him. That's like, like that's a horror moment right there. Because you're like, you didn't know like he had that ability. And like, what do you mean we? There's only you here. So I think they need to really play into that to add to that horror, to add to that suspense. So all I wish is we could see just anything. A hand, a foot, an eye.
I'm fine with that if they like tease like a part or like an ominous like introduction of like some sort of scene that's an impactful scene. Apparently that's my favorite word tonight, but and maybe like a Venom hand slams down or grabs somebody over the shoulder, or maybe we oh
dude, that's how you end that trailer right there. You have those scientists or whatever and they're like, where is he? And then you just like have a shot of like one of them a little off to the shoulder there and you see like him start to come up behind him, like the head of it.
Yeah, but more silhouette-y.
Maybe, but I want him to see it. No silhouette. Like, just show him like coming up, and they're just like, and then they kind of turn around or whatever, or they just show him like put a hand just like that, and then just that's the end of the trailer, and then you show the title card. Like, I could do this. Sony, call me. Man, Disney's gonna buy it. So that's fine.
Venom lends himself so well to doing something really horrific with.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping they do that. But right now we're getting a generic action movie, and this is a really good idea that somebody else had over on the Weekly Planet. I shouldn't pitch other podcasts, but it's a great show. But Mesa over there, he said, have somebody watch this trailer who knows nothing of Venom and ask them at the end of it, what do they think the movie's about? Because if you didn't know, like we knew about Venom, you might just say, I don't know. Like it's some dude who goes and is sick, and there might be something wrong with him. Is it about demons? Is he like a horror movie, maybe, but it's an action movie? I don't know.
I'm going to do that because I know Haley knows nothing about Venom.
Cool.
I'm going to go, Haley, watch us. What do you think that's about?
Please report back because I will do the same, and I would love to get some. I'd love to hear what people say about that. They might be just like, because, yeah. Also preface it and say it's not like a scary thing because it's not really that scary. But do that at home. Please tweet at us or comment down below and let us know what your loved ones or friends say about this movie who don't know Venom. If they're like, Tom Hardy is sick, like he's not feeling good. He's off.
Tom Hardy needs to be put in a white padded room. Do it.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, he's a great actor, and I think this is a really good choice. Even though I still kind of wished he was going to be the new like Wolverine for the MCU, but I think this will hopefully be all right. Still, I just need to see Venom. Like that is the make or break thing. Not too many times in other big blockbuster films do you really hinge on this one aspect. But like Alien, but like Predator, like some stuff like that, maybe even Transformers to some degree. Like that is the thing that gets me to the movie theater. Like I want to see this thing, and if you don't execute that well, and we're not seeing it already, that makes me nervous. It's like you haven't shown me anything. Like you call it Venom, but I haven't seen Venom. It's like seeing a Jurassic World trailer without seeing any dinosaurs.
Exactly. Like, but what have they done to me? They've gotten me ready and wanting more. Like I want to see it.
So that's my next question. Where is your hypometer, Joe? Is it, because I know it's usually blazing for Venom, but is it still the same? Did it go up or down at all for this?
Oh, it's still up there. I still think there's potential to cash in on the horror aspect that is right for the picking with this character. I think we'll get some decent action out of it. It's not going to be boring. My hypometer is still freaking... I need to take my hoodie off. Sweating. It's probably at a good 110 degrees with a humidity heat index of 70%.
You've broken the hypometer.
I don't even know.
This trailer to me is a wet blanket, and it's got me down to 80 degrees. I'm still excited about this, but this is not a good trailer. This is just a blasé, boring thing, and I think you could do better, Sony.
But it's a teaser.
I will say that, and to their credit, they haven't shown us everything like they did for Spider-Man Homecoming. They've done the exact opposite. This is a Goldilocks situation, straight and simple. Like, Spider-Man Homecoming is like, here's the entire plot of the film. And then like this, they're like, here's nothing. It's like, it's like, I got
just right.
Just a little, just one hand grab on someone, just a creepy black hand is like, that's it.
Yeah. The only thing that clues people into that clues people into this is a Venom movie is the symbiote in the vial and the poster at the end.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is Venom right on it.
Well, Joe, Venom likes to kill a lot of things, wouldn't you say? But then again, we like to kill something, especially. It's that part of the show that I like to call, that you like to call, that we like to call Timekillers. That's right, it's time for Timekillers. It's the games we've been playing, the movies we've been watching, the TV shows we've been viewing. Joe!
Hey, hold on. And you may ask yourself, why do we always do the evil, sinister Timekillers? Well, because we're murderers. We're killing time. Get it? Right? Come on.
Yeah.
I feel like I've gotten that question once or twice. It's like, come on, Timekillers. We're killing it. Killing it.
It's supposed to be, it's all in fun. I've always wanted fan art of us, or somebody stabbing a grandfather clock.
Yeah. like Jimmy's climbing over the top of it with an axe, and I'm punching it in the face. I don't know. And that makes sense because it does have a face.
There's the song by K-Flay. It's like Cut in the Blood, or Blood in the Cut. And she says a part where she's like, I've been killing all my time. And every time she says that, I go, Timekillers. In the car, I'm like, Timekillers. I'm like, I'm always on brand, baby. Joe, what you been killing time with?
Apparently, you've been killing time with K-Flay. Who's K-Flay?
Just a musician. I mean, I'm not hanging out with her. She's not in the car with me, and she's like, I like this tune. I'm like, it's pretty good.
What genre are we talking, Jimmy? Somebody I should look into?
We're talking alternative, kind of. Yeah, alternative is a good way to put it.
Coffee house-ish?
No. It's more of a kind of an edgy thing.
Okay,
kind of thing.
Interesting. Sounds interesting. She's killing time. I'm into it.
Yeah. Explicit lyrics, some of them kind of, but they bleep it out on the radio, so it's like, yeah.
Oh, it's actually on the radio.
It is on the radio. Yeah, that's the only way I hear new music. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you're not a MP3 guy or Spotify in the car.
Excellent question. Which I joke about because Levi, he always says that to everything I ask. He's like, excellent question, Jimmy. I want to do that. My car is just older, and the one thing, this is going to sound so stupid and so first world, but the one thing I want in a new car is the ability to plug in my phone and listen to whatever, because it's been mostly just radio because it's older. And I know there are ways around it. I've tried ways around it. You get the CD or the tape that plays, and you can plug it in and do all this stuff. That stuff never seems to work for me. So if it isn't that, it's usually podcasts, and I'll try to listen to them if I can. But Yeah, like the Easy Allies podcast, which I love. I love you guys. But yeah, that's kind of it. I usually listen to radio. So, but yeah. Anyway, Joe, what are you killing time with, pal? What are you doing?
Well, we were killing time with conversation.
We were.
Me killing time. All right, I got 3 things right off the bat.
Whoa, 3?
3, and I'll get the 4th one right off right now. So,
you sound like one of those guys who's trying to sell something, and like you're like, but wait, there's more, and you're like starting off with the and more part. You're like, and you get this free like hot pad, and you're like, for what? You're like, oh, you gotta buy this dishwasher.
That's like the there's some, I don't know if it's a Vine video. It's some viral video. There's this African American salesperson, and he's selling a cleaner or whatever. But he's making all these racist jokes to white people.
That's pretty funny, man.
And they think he's hilarious, and he's a truly, honest to goodness, seems like a great guy. Sure. And his jokes are hilarious, and his product works. Like, he's taking grime off of a brass doorknob, and it's going from like dirty brown to bright gold. And he's making jokes about it and stuff. You could probably look it up. Anywho, what were we talking about?
Timekillers.
All right, 4th one. Get that one off the table right now. That was Monster Hunter, obviously. I'm sure you've been playing it. I've been playing it. I haven't played a lot since, Thursday last week, but I got to a pretty good point in the storyline. Feel pretty good about what I've fought thus far. Still more things to discover. Hoping to get back on that later this weekend. But yeah, so then moving into 1, 2, 3, movies. I spent a little time on Monday with Hales watching some movies. I just happened to turn on Netflix. Hey, what's new on Netflix? I haven't been on here in months. This streaming service, I'm thinking about cutting her loose, right? Oh, I was like, oh, this looks cool. Netflix original. The Open House. Now, careful, you hit play on this puppy, you're in for a treat. It's edge of your seat type of stuff. It actually is edge of your seat type of stuff. Spoiler alert. And if you want to watch it, by all means, have fun. You'll hate the ending. I'm going to spoil it for you right now, so skip 20 seconds. Let's face it, 30 seconds ahead, because I'm going to go at it lengthy. At the end, it's a mom and a son, right? Their dad just died. They're staying in this mansion of a vacation home built in the early 90s, because it's all this ugly oak trim and crap. And it's up in the mountains of California somewhere, a little quaint town, not much to it at all. And their pilot light keeps going out on their water heater. And they had just had an open house a few days ago because they're staying at their sister's mansion, and they're trying to sell it. So they're like, all you got to do is just leave on Sundays when they do open houses. Okay, so they step out, they come back, shower goes cold every time. Hey, you light the pilot light on the water heater. Goes and does it. You think he's going to get jumped and killed every time. Doesn't. Okay. Weird stuff starts to happen. Okay. Turns out there's been a guy in the house a whole darn time. And he ends up killing a guy that came over because they thought they had a break-in, and the guy was staying the night just to help him feel better. And kills him, knocks the kid out, the son, and then tapes up the mom, like laying next to her in bed while she's sleeping. And then she comes awake and wham, has her, ties her to a rocking chair, tortures her a little bit, like breaks all her fingers and some stuff. And the kid wakes up in the parking or in the driveway all frozen and whatnot, runs back in the house, shivering like crazy, shaking like a leaf, and tries to save his mom, saves his mom. Then he's running around and gets into the basement. Apparently his mom's down there, and she turns a corner into him in the flashlight. It's dark. He stabs her in the gut thinking it's the bad guy. So he kills his own mom, ends up running out in the woods all night long, and ends up by a creek, washes his face, turns around, and the guy's standing he's sitting at his feet. So the guy kills him. They all die. The end. And you
Huh.
don't even know who the guy was that killed him. You don't understand it whatsoever. And then at the very end, they show this clip of an old blacked out Ford Bronco pulls up to an intersection, stops on the highway, and looks. And you can tell he's like looking at something. Open house sign, and he turns down the driveway.
So it's a series.
So they set it up for a sequel. Great. It was really lackluster towards the finish line and a little awkward. It could have been worse, but it was bad. Just no, you know. So sorry to bore you with the whole synopsis of the ending and all that, but hopefully I saved you an hour and a half of.
Thank you.
Really
I was, it's in my queue, and I was like, right after this, I'm gonna turn it on.
Maybe
but I
it
don't have
was.
to.
It says Netflix original. Normally you can trust that, right?
That is not a thing to judge by anymore. It's not a great metric. It used to be, but now it's like, is it good? I don't know.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the next movie?
Next movie. 47 meters down or whatever. With
Is that the name of it? 47 meters down or whatever. I don't know. All right, we got really scientific up to a point, and then we just stopped caring. We're like, what? Are there sharks here? I guess. Like, whatever.
All I know is it's 47 meters deep. 40s. Oh, God.
48 meters down. What if they go to 48, Joe? What happens at 50? I mean, do the sharks give up? They're like, that's too deep for me. I don't know how to do that.
Siri, convert 47 meters to feet.
Uh-oh. We're showing off that we're Americans here.
154.2 feet.
I could have just, guessed that for you, but hey, whatever. It's just
roughly 3 feet in a meter, whatever. Okay. So 155 feet down. That's a fucking ways, man.
That's a ways down. Yeah.
Ways.
What were they going to do down there? What are they doing?
So Mandy Moore, Claire Holt, the actresses, circles around them the whole time. They're sisters. They take a trip down to Mexico. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Watch out.
Nobody cares. This movie actually wasn't horrible. It was kind of edge of your seat type of deal. Not very, I guess plausible, but some things surprise you. I'll get more into that in a second. But they go down to Mexico, sister vacation. One just came off of a breakup. The other one's single and more of like a traveler and ambitious, spur of the moment, spontaneous type of person. The girl, Mandy Moore, who just came off the breakup, is along for the ride kind of a deal.
I already don't believe it. Mandy Moore would not. Did she get dumped?
Yeah, she got dumped. Oh yeah.
Well, this is a work of fiction. Mandy Moore is great. All right, I'm just sorry. Keep going.
She seems nice. Anywho, so the younger one, who's the spontaneous one, talks her into stuff, yada yada. We're in Mexico. Let's have fun. We're the only ones not partying and out right now. Let's go. So they go out. They meet a couple local Latino fellows.
You could just say locals. You don't have to get oddly specific. But thank you for painting the picture.
It's way more fun to get oddly specific. If you're not feeling a little awkward right now, then what's the point?
That's the tagline for our show. If you're not feeling a little awkward right now, then what's the point?
We come up with good stuff. And I tell you what. Anywho, they meet these guys and they have a good night. Whatever. In the morning they depart. They go out for dinner the next night. And they talk about cage diving, and the two guys are like, "Oh yeah, we know this guy, this captain, and he'd probably take us out for $100 each. We know him. He give us a really good deal. Good friend of ours." Okay, so they're like, "All right." The younger sister talks Mandy Moore, older sister, into doing it, because of course Mandy's like, "Oh no, I don't know if I can do it." Yada yada. Come on, you gotta live once. Imagine the pictures we'll get. Yada yada. It'd be great for social media because it looks like you're doing something fun and interesting. That whole song and dance. So, anywho, they meet up with the guys in the morning. They go down to the boat dock and they get in this little rinky-dink boat. Then they get in this larger rinky-dink boat This boat looks like it was built in like 1810. It's rough. Like it looks like it was tossed through 6 hurricanes, and by some glory to God, it's still running. like it's impressive. Anywho, it's got like this old crane boom on it. The cage is obviously like freaking caked in rust because they wanted to make it look real rough and make this whole thing plausible. But the chains on top were top notch, good shape, brand new looking. Still had the tags on them. Just bought them from freaking Menards. Anywho,
Keep going. No, don't mind me over here. Just laughing away. Thinking like, I wonder how long he can explain the outside or the exterior of the boat. Then I'm thinking, oh wait, there's a whole interior to get to. So I'm sure we'll get to that. Here's what they were wearing. I think Vandermore had a pink blouse. Was it maroon? I don't remember. Let me go
it
back.
was actually kind of maroon and black wetsuit.
They're in the cage. They're down 47 meters. Let me guess. Malfunction. They're down there for a lot of it. Sharks show up.
No. Come on. All right. No one's ever going to have to watch this movie. Just look at a picture of the 2 actresses and I'll explain the rest. So I'm sorry. I'm finding enjoyment in the torture.
Yeah, man. This feels like it. It feels like I'm watching these things. Like I'll save you time by doing the same thing, but just explaining it instead of watching it. Same amount of time.
oh man. All right. So anywho, they go out to the ocean, blah, blah, blah. The 2 guys go down first, right? So you're like, well, what the hell? Why didn't they go 47 meters down? Because it wouldn't be as cool. Anywho, they come out, the girls go and get in, and the captain, oddly, like he looks like he's like a old washed up pirate, but he like knows his stuff. Like he's telling about scuba dive lingo and like what to read and what medical implications there are if you do this or that. And they're sketchy. And he's got like a boat hand named Javier that like talks about like, yeah, the shark's not so good above water. They can't hear a thing, but down there they sense the fear. Just like, okay. So they've got a shark that's as big as the boat. It's like 25 feet. And I think the biggest great whites get to what? Just right around 20.
Yeah, something like that.
So they dump the 2 girls in the cage. No flippers, just a tank, inflation jacket thing. But they have full face masks with radio comms. So obviously he didn't spend any money on the boat. He spent it all on the scuba gear. I just thought it was odd. Throws them in there. They drop them down 15 feet, right? They see like 4 or 5 sharks swimming around at a distance. And they love it. All of a sudden, they feel like a slip in the cage, and they kind of cut to a little bit of a fray in the cable on the spool for the winch. And they calm up. They're like, hey, Taylor is the guy's name. We feel like we felt the cage move. They're like, yeah, with the winch mechanism just had a slip. It's okay. We're going to bring you up a little bit. So they start to bring them up a little bit. All of a sudden, next thing you know, all the way down. Cable's still hooked up. I'm like, okay, they're good. They can still like, get them back up, right? No. It rips the whole crane right out of the boat because the cage hits like probably 35 meters and it yanks it so hard that the whole boom comes out of the boat with the winch and it floats down on top of them. And from there, it's just how do we get out of here and how do we get to the surface and communicate with them? Well, they have to dive up to 35 meters, talk to the boat, go back down. They talk to the boat, but then they hear a boat motor start up and move. And so immediately I'm like, okay, there's no evidence that these girls are even out here with these guys. They just took off. They just took off. So, struggle ensues, yada, yada. Sharks show up once in a while. And it's dark down there. And they communicate with the boat again. I'm like, no way, the boat stuck around. And they say, yeah, we called the National Guard. They're on their way to dive and rescue you. or they say they're sending a cable down to hook them up. So Javier, the boat hand, dives in to go hook it up. Oh, it's great, man. Mandy Moore sees the flashlight in the distance, swims out to go get it, and it's just the flashlight. Then all of a sudden, Javier jumps her from behind, and he's like, "Get back to the cage! It's not safe!" And wham! Shark comes out of nowhere. Javier's gone. Next thing you know, she sees a dead body floating in front of her, and she's swimming for her life. It's great. She hooks up the cage. They start winching her up. They make it halfway up. In the what breaks? The cable breaks, I think. Something breaks.
They can get out of the cage?
Yeah. There's a hatch that they.
Why can't they just swim to the surface?
Because they're 47 meters down, and they have to come up to a depth of like 20 something, and then they have to stay there for 5 minutes to do a decompression, and then they go up the rest of the way. Because otherwise, they get the bends, which can cause blood clots and stuff like that.
Okay. So, I'm no scuba expert, but at that point, I might say to myself, you know what? I'm going to take the chances with the decompression. Maybe that's a really stupid thing to say, but I don't know if you could go up to that height and then like swim about for a little bit. And they're like, oh, the sharks are there or whatever. But like sharks, also side note, usually just take exploratory bites. They're not necessarily going there to kill people. Like,
so Jimmy, would you do that? So they sent down spare tanks, and they told you the National Guard is on the way. You're gonna wait for the National Guard to show up. Right?
Let's be honest. I would never have done this in the first place. Like, I wanted to cage dive, but it's like I'm not going. If like the boat, if it's all like real sketch and people don't know I'm out there, stupid. Second off, if I did know the National Guard was coming, I guess I would be chilling at the bottom of the ocean, or that part of the ocean. It's not obviously at the bottom, but yeah, I don't know. But if it like started like my tanks are starting to run out, I don't want to be like, well, I was kind of worried about decompression, so I decided to either A, get eaten, or B, like drown. I don't know.
Dude, I don't know. Stupid. What would you rather have? Get eaten and torn apart? Eaten alive, essentially? Like, it's not going to be an instantaneous death.
I will take magical option C. If it becomes between that and drowning, C is never went to the resort or wherever they were. I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Sounds horrible.
Those are two horrible options. Like suffocation is bad. There are a lot of other ways I'd rather go than drowning / suffocation.
Yeah, I'm more of like a Death Star kind of guy. Like I want to get hit with that super laser beam. Like
yeah, I just want something quick and easy. Like even if I feel just a split second of pain, as long as it's quick.
Yeah, as long as it's quick. Anyway, so they make it out and they get out of there.
Oh no!
Now you're killing my time.
Major spoiler: the younger, ambitious, spontaneous sister, she does a lot of the work down here. She's dove before. She goes out to get the spare tanks because they dropped just a little ways away. She grabs them. She hooks hers up just in the nick of time. And she's on her way back. And Mandy's like, get down, shark, shark, screaming, using all her air. and so the younger sister kind of dives between two rocks and stays down. And then Mandy's running out of air. Younger sister's like, I gotta get these to you, and she like kind of stands up a little bit to walk towards her on the ocean floor and get the tank close to the cage. Shark just comes by and wails on her. Gone. And there's a condition where you switch out an air tank underwater like that or something. There was something that apparently this really smart but crude looking boat captain told him. He's like, you gotta be careful to watch each other because you'll start hallucinating from the carbon something gas that it comes with the side effect of switching the tank. So needless to say, Mandy Moore's leg is caught under the cage after the second drop of the cage, and she barely reaches the tank that her sister dropped after she got swept away by a shark. Hooks up to it, and then she starts hallucinating. She thinks she hears her sister on the radio. And then she imagines getting herself free. She goes to her sister, and it's this whole thing that's all a hallucination that you think is real. And so her sister's got a big torn up leg. and they have flares, right, that were dropped with the spare tanks. They go up to the level where they have to decompress, and they're swimming up, and they keep lighting flares on the way, and they have 4 of them. Well, they drop 1 and 2 go out by the time they get to the decompression area. They can't get the 4th one lit, and just as they light the 4th one, they light it, and there's like 5 sharks around them, and one had its mouth like gaping open right by them. And the whole thing was the flares will scare the sharks away, kind of a deal. Well, they just lit it in the nick of time, and they kind of spooked. Well, they get to the surface, they get up on the boat, and Mandy's laying there like, we made it. And then she's going like she's looking at her hand in the sun on the boat deck. And it all seems very real until this point. And then she's like, oh, that's weird. And her hand like starts like smoking through the sunlight. Next thing you know, you're back at the bottom of the ocean floor, and she's looking at her hand. And you're like, what? Like, you felt good about it because they made it. It was actually kind of thrilling. It's not good, but if you are looking to kill time and you like shark kind of, what's the word, horror, suspense thrillers, I thought this would be boring, but it's actually kind of intense. Like, you're wondering how the hell are they getting out of this, and they actually make it work. I thought for sure that the guys on the boat would leave and just say, we don't know about any girls from America. What are you talking about? So
did Mandy Moore make it out?
Oh, yeah. Did Mandy make it out? Oh, yeah. The National Guard came down when she was hallucinating. And the National Guard came down there in shark-infested water. Hats off to those guys because they just came down there with freaking spear guns and flashlights. No thanks.
I thought you were going to say that the twist was going to be like the sharks were the good guys. It's kind of like in some of those horror movies where it's like actually the humans you see are the ghosts, and everybody else who's a ghost is actually a real person. So it's like the sharks are like, ah! like the sharks are like, we were living our lives until these people just came down here. They killed Billy. That cage killed Billy. Billy the shark is dead.
That would be an awesome spoof.
That would be
awesome.
Incredible. I would totally watch that.
We could do this stuff. All right. I'm sorry for the lengthy one there, but actually, I think that was kind of fun. And that movie was actually kind of interesting. I should have started off with the, if you're just rejoining after all the spoilers, or even if you just thought, well, that sounds weird. It's kind of fun. Like say you're just sitting home after work one night, you're bored, give it a watch. It's kind of fun. I think the CG is actually decent. Like there might be a couple shots of real sharks here, but any CG moments, it actually looks okay. Sometimes you get a little bit of scale or effect factor that kind of throws it off, but for the most part, I thought it was well done. The acting isn't a huge factor here, but the 2 characters are fine. Mandy Moore will annoy you because she panics, but it makes sense because who wouldn't? Like, Haley was telling me about she actually took diving lessons in a lake, and they went 40 feet down, and it's almost pitch black down there, and they had to take their mask off, clear it, and put it back on. And she said it's like one of the most claustrophobic, kind of scary things you'll ever do. And I believe that. But ultimately, it was a fun watch. It's like a 2-star out of 5, maybe. Yeah. But entertainment, it's there. So moving on to the next one. My boy Jason Momoa and Brayven. Yeah. Logging up in the mountains. I'm going to go winterize the cabin, shut her down for winter. You and Pops, who is played by, who's the old general guy from Pandora?
Are you talking about, you're talking about, don't tell me his name, Steve.
Neil Lang? Or not Neil Lang.
Oh, Stephen Lang.
Stephen Lang.
We did it.
Yeah.
This movie, I'd watch that movie. I love Stephen Lang.
Dude, you would
actually... Should have been Cable.
Should have been Cable for sure.
Makes me so angry.
Just saying, you would really like this movie. I know I told you just a little bit about it, but it's very straightforward, and it stays in its lane. It doesn't do anything too ridiculous or stupid. And it's nice. It's kind of wholesome. It has a good grounded feel to it. Mr. Lang, great. Is Stephen Lang?
Yeah, Stephen Lang. I think it's supposed to Stephen with a PH.
Yeah, he I think he's just a good actor.
Yeah,
He does an excellent job in his role. He's kind of a guy. He's Momoa's character's dad, and Momoa's married with a daughter, and Lang lives with them because he had some accident and he has kind of like Alzheimer's or schizophrenia, something of that nature, or he forgets things.
Mm-hmm.
And so it starts off, it shows some relationships. It shows what Momoa, or his character's named Joe, it shows what they do. He runs a logging business that his dad and his grandpa started. And one of the guys who's the truck driver for him kind of gets into trouble transporting. Oh my gosh. Spoilers. Sorry. This is a great movie. Go watch it if you can. If you don't want the spoilers, cut it off now. Come back in a minute.
Come back 10 minutes.
Hopefully this one isn't that long. I don't need to exhaust it. I want you guys to watch it. But he gets into some trouble running drugs via the logging truck as a disguise or a cover. But it ends up being, and this is in the preview actually, I think, if you watch a trailer for it. But he gets in a wreck with the truck. Him and the guy that are running the drugs, they go stash it in Joe's cabin, thinking nobody's coming up there for a while, right? Well, so what do Joe and his dad do? They go down they go up there to shut it down for winter. Little daughter accidentally stows away in the truck because she wanted to go with grandpa and dad to do whatever, and chaos ensues from there because the drug ring leader wants his drugs because they're worth a lot of money, millions, I guess, and they show up there. It's a whole Mexican standoff type of deal, or Western standoff deal, and it's up in the snowy mountains. Turns into a whole thing, kind of back and forth, people dying, and it's intense.
I need to know two things. First off, do Stephen Lang and Jason Momoa like bring out like shotguns and rifles and start killing everybody?
Was it that hard to figure out?
Okay. Second question, is it rated R?
It should be. I don't know if it is or not, but with what I saw, it's got to be. Yeah.
Because I'm way more in if I get to see Stephen Lang take like a double barrel shotgun and shoot someone in a snowy locale. Like that's right there. That's going to get me to see this thing. I'll be like, all right, I'm in.
You'll see some cool moments from Lang, but I don't think he does anything too down and dirty, like up close and personal, but it's pretty good.
I like him so much. I totally buy that he's got like a military background. He probably does in this movie too. Maybe they mentioned it because he looks like a military type. Like he's just like a cut. Like he's like, yeah, I used to be a Marine and I don't talk about it, kind of thing. You're like, okay.
Yeah, they tease a bit of that, or he mentions something with some of his dialogue, but
yeah, so Brayven, how do you spell that? So if people want to check it out.
Brayven, or if you Google, Momoa recent movies, it just came out like last week.
And it's
Thursday.
The last name of the character, right?
Brayven. It is, yeah. Joe Brayven and his father, something Brayven. I can't remember.
They're kind of caught in the middle, it sounds like. It's not like they were.
Yeah, wrong place, wrong time.
Two worst people to be in that situation going against, though, because I'm sure like Momoa's got some training as well from his dad or something, or he'd been in the military.
Momoa's just kind of a smart, knows his territory, tough guy.
Cool.
And it's not like he's a show off or anything. He's a good, like, humble, wholesome guy, but very family oriented kind of a deal, and kind of quick-witted.
Sure.
He goes off that he can think on his feet and get his shit together and get something done. And the same thing can be said for Stephen Lang. It's a good movie. It's nothing too over the top. The budget is very low. I'm sure Momoa did this for next to nothing just because he thought it was a cool deal. But it's kind of formulaic, but original at the same time. It's a little more intimate feeling. It's not, large city or anything. It's literally cabin, woods, cabin.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you talked about these movies in order of which you'd recommend them from like worst to best. You have Open House here, 47 Meters Down here, and Brayven up here.
Exactly, worst to best. And Brayven, I actually highly recommend. I enjoyed watching it. That was some time that I enjoyed killing. So
give me out of 10 for Brayven, and I think you said for 47 meters down is like a 2 out of 10. I'm guessing 1 out of 10, or no, sorry, 2 out of 5. So maybe like a 4 out of 10 for 47 meters down. Maybe like less than that for open house. What is it?
Yeah, open house. Let's call it a 3. 47 meters down. I'll give it at least a 4.5.
Okay.
Maybe even a 5. So somewhere right in that range. And then for Brayven, I gotta admit, I'll probably give her a good 8. It's Mission Impossible stuff is like on this level. This is kind of like, I'm trying to think of a good comparison, but right now I think like a Mission Impossible or some sort of action flick with like a main prominent guy. That's kind of up here, and the budget is way up here. This movie's down here, but it knows its place. It stays in its lane, and it just feels wholesome. And
like good old fashioned killing, drug.
Yeah, it is. It's
the whole
just
family around.
Yeah, it's kind of good old fashioned. You are a little bit surprised by like the drug runners' abilities and kind of what they got going and how desperate they.
What ability? Not like super ability, because this should be such a great movie.
The one guy like shoots fire out of his hands. The other guy turns into like a bear. The other guy turns into.
I would love it so much if they did that and they told no one in the trailers. So you like went into it and you're like, I thought it was gonna be like this, and then one guy was like, not today, and then he's just like fire everywhere. You're like, oh. It's like, yeah, this happens to be superhero world, don't worry about it. Like,
no, I think most of all it's just cool to see just a standard, knows its place, stays in its lane, wholesome. The human ingenuity is shown off, like the things Momoa does to gain an upper hand on the people that clearly look like they have an upper hand on them. Like they open the trunk of their SUV and it looks like the military threw up in there. It's like
Uncle Sam's like,
yeah, like here's guns.
Please, if anyone ever takes and does any fan art, I want someone to do here's guns.
Somebody throwing up assault rifles and shotguns and rifles. Yeah, so it was pretty intense. It's kind of cool. I just liked it. I just flat out liked it. And Momoa, my man.
I know he's your man. I'm cutting you off, Joe. You've been killing time. It's my turn. All right. I don't have much.
Go for
Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World. I'm going to have a review out formally next week. I really believe I will, because I'm pretty much done with the main part of the game, but I plan on playing a lot more of it. I will tell you guys this right now, though. I put more hours into that game than I did for the entirety of Persona 5, and that took me a lot longer. This game is addicting. I am also watching this little thing right here. Yes, Dragon Ball Z Season 1. It's on loan to me from a buddy of mine. There's a lot of filler. It's a bit older. I've told him to watch Dragon Ball Z Kai, whatever, but this is what I'm watching right now. It's pretty good. It's pretty fun. A lot of screaming, obviously, a lot of screaming. Then Dragon's like, yeah. Their hair is changing colors.
That's
not
all
yet.
I remember of it, because you see like memes and stuff online or a little bit.
Well, and I didn't have this as a kid. I didn't have Cartoon Network while I was growing up, so I missed out on a lot of this stuff. So I'm trying to go back and try to see this, because I'm always trying to watch new things. I've also been rewatching some old Naruto stuff, and that's been fun too. But I feel like I should try to watch new things too, because But if you have something you like, there's nothing wrong with rewatching it. But pretty much that's it for the most part. You know what? I will also say this, because it's the 100th episode. I want to talk about some of the things I watch on a pretty daily basis here, besides watching like the Easy Allies and all the stuff they ever do, and watching Mr. Sunday Movies or Weekly Planet, which are all great things. You should definitely check them out. I do watch 2 vloggers. I watch the Tim Tracker, who's down in Florida. He goes to Disney World all the time, and I love him for it. He's excellent. Check him out. And I also watch Justin Scard. He does these things called Random Land Adventures, kind of similar, a little more edited vlogging though. And he's usually over in Disneyland, but he's in Disney World right now. Something really addicting about like watching these people go to these places. And we've done some vlogs too, but getting to be a part of their lives and get to see how like kind of interesting and weird their lives are, where like every day they just go to a new fun place. Like especially the Tim Tracker, like this is his job now. Like every day he's going out and his wife is staying home and she's editing yesterday's video. And like that is their life, which is like crazy to me, but
So
really
he gets
cool.
to go out, he goes to Disney World, and the wife stays home and edits yesterday's adventures at Disney World.
Yeah, so there's the rub. They have a dog named Bandit, who's very cool, and unfortunately he is suffering from colon cancer, and apparently he can have a lot of flare-ups, and sometimes they just need to have her stay at home. They do have a dog sitter that comes in every once in a while, but it gets expensive, and I know how that goes. So it's like one of those things where she just is happy to be home with him, and she gets to go out every once in a while. She'll probably go out once a week with him to the things, but yeah, so he'll go out to, Disney World a couple days a week, Universal a couple days a week, and some other place, and it's just fun to, go on these adventures, like be a part of this guy's life and get to see a lot of places that I love.
I'm curious about it, and I should probably just give it a try myself, but so there's more to it than just them going to the theme parks, right? Is he doing other stuff, or is it mostly just Disney World, here's what we're doing at Disney today, or Universal, here's what I want to explore today and show you some things that you should try and see when you're down here?
Exactly. So besides that, which is a good question, Joe, is that two major things I would say. So like they'll go to parks around there, like the Everglades or kind of areas like that. Maybe not specifically the Everglades, but go to like a Florida park, which is very different than a Midwestern park, which is cool to see. But then he also went down to like Kennedy Space Center to see the launch of that new Elon Musk supervillain rocket. And he was there for that. He got to see Bill Nye. And so he tries to do a lot of the stuff around there. He'll go to Busch Gardens. He'll go to some other theme parks that maybe I haven't been to, like that, or SeaWorld in Florida. I haven't been to that one. So
Free the Willies!
Yeah, he goes to a bunch of places, which is really cool. I don't know. It's just fun to go on adventures. He was in Tennessee. He was helping a guy shoot like a music video. He used to have a mustache. He used to curl up and around until he was a bartender for a music video, and he's since shaved that off, so don't ever freak out. But then they went to Branson, Missouri for a little bit. They do take trips and stuff, but they usually try to stick to mostly, I think Disney is just so popular because a lot of people like myself who love it, who can't go there all the time, they like to see like the updates. Like I like seeing the construction updates, like what you would like to
vicariously through them.
Yeah, you get to see like how they're building the Star Wars land, and you can be like, "Oh, cool! I know like they're putting those support beams on there. I wouldn't know what that is, Joe. You might be like, "Oh, they're doing that to do this." I'm like, "Oh, cool!" So it's really fun, and he has a construction background, so he can like sit there and point stuff out and be like, "Oh, they're doing this. They have this to bring dirt over the highway here, and all this stuff." I'm like, "Oh, it's really cool." So
there's a construction background, huh? Perhaps I should meet this Tim Tracker.
I would like to have him on the show sometime because he talks about movies every once in a while, and he used to be notorious for falling asleep on the couch while watching a movie. So he'd be like, "Yeah, I was watching this, and guess what? I fell asleep," because he used to do vlogging every day, and he also had like a regular job. So it was like he would come home, he would do some things, and a lot of times those vlogs were just, they call them home vlogs, where they just kind of hung out in the house and talked about stuff or showed them cooking a meal. But when they got popular enough, because they're up to like over 300,000 subscribers now, which congratulations to them, they're sustainable. Like they can do this now where he can go out every day and she stays at home and edits the vlogs. And that's really, it's cool. And it's such a partnership between the two of them. I love them both. And they're both really nice people. And it's like, I feel like I know them super well, but like if I went up and said hi, they wouldn't know me, I'd be like, "Hey, I'm Jimmy. I've watched every day of your life for the past 2 years," like I'm working for the CIA. I'm just like,
but you guys seem cool. You seem straight as an
arrow. Yeah, exactly. So my hope one day is to run into them, bump into them in the parks, maybe buy them a meal. But I'm sure everybody wants to buy them a meal. But it would just be cool to say hi to them. And they're vlogging people, they're YouTube people, so they would know that I'd be like, "Hey, I do this stuff too, and I do other things." So if we can ever have Tim on the show, though, Joe, I think on the podcast, it'd be fun to hear what he movies he likes and dislikes, and if he's like, "Man, I really, really hate this," or "really love that," and be like, "Oh, interesting." So yeah, maybe one day I'll ask him. We'll tweet him. Everybody tweeted him. He's at the Tim Tracker. But Justin Scard is also really good too. He's his vlogs are much more edited. He's a lot more comedic, and he likes to he will say an entire sentence, but he will say like start the sentence looking at one thing, half the sentence will look at himself, and half the other sentence will look at something else. So it's very it moves very quick. So that one's much more kind of highly produced in a way. I don't want to disservice the Tim Tracker, but that one's more of like he'll talk for a while and then it'll be one cut, and then he'll be like looking at something for a while, it'll be one cut. It won't be like So a lot less editing, hopefully, on Jen's part, which is good. But she still does a killer job with it. So yeah, I love it. I love getting to see the special events too. That's really cool because I don't get to see those, like the Halloween events, like the Mardi Gras at Universal, like all this other stuff that I wouldn't normally see, like the holiday things. So it's like, oh, cool. I didn't know Disney does all this stuff. So
I'd like to see a lot of the Christmas stuff. I know they do the holiday Disney World special on how they set everything up and the decorating.
Yeah, I watched that this year with my family, and it was so cool. Like, it was cool because they were like interviewing people who've done it for like 18 years or something. It's like this one lady's like, yeah, I work over here, and this is where we just grow the poinsettias. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, we grow all these poinsettias to use in all the parks, and we have like, you know, thousands. That's like, like just to see like behind the scenes, like on property where they do this stuff is like, what? Like, that's insane. Like the warehouses for the Christmas stuff is like, like, it's very cool. It's very cool.
Just you almost can't fathom what goes on behind closed doors at Disney World, and like the just ungodly amounts of stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff. Oh my gosh.
One of my dreams is to go to like the straight up like nerve center, or what I think it would be at Disney World, to go see like where all the monitors are. Like, cause I just feel like there's a room where there's like 30 people. Like I think of Jurassic World, and like it's like that, but even bigger, where it's just you know, like 200 people in this room, and they're all just like checking monitors, they're all typing furiously, and they're like, this is the nerve center. We have every camera everywhere. And you're just like, oh my gosh, like, why are there so many toilets? But
looks like we got a malfunction on AC unit 339 over in Magic Kingdom. Looks to be about a degree off. We're gonna have to crank that one up a little bit.
Shut down the park. Shut down the park.
That's it. This is a code 3 red, people. Yeah. This is not a drill. Please put up all the containment walls.
Don't let anybody in or out. But yeah, so check out the Tim Tracker or Justin Scard. Tell them Jimmy sent you. They're both really fun to watch. And Justin Scard's not putting out ones every day, but that's totally fine. But Tim Tracker is, which is insane. They put out a new video pretty much every day. And for someone who has tried, like, who's just like done a little bit of vlogging, I'm like, good on you. You know, they have a good system set up. But yeah, it's great. It's great. All right, Joe, that's enough of Timekillers. We've been doing Timekillers for a while now. Yeah, quite a while. We're moving into
Ataka. You see, I'm Ataka.
He's Ataka. I told him that he was Ataka, and he said, yeah, you Ataka. Anyway.
Taco? What?
Talker, not Taco.
Taco.
Anyway, we're moving into my favorite segment of the show, community feedback and questions. And we got some really great questions and a game or two to play here today on the show, and I really wanted to get to them. First one comes in from Ryan Lehman, old friend of ours. He said, Echo Critical at Lever_627 at JimmyGets013, so I can reach us. Who would be your dream guest for the podcast? # Critical Podcast. Joe, I know we joked about it the other day, but I could guess that yours would be Jason Momoa. I think I guessed correctly. You'd love to have Jason on here. You'd just be an hour and a half of my man. I just sitting over here like
drinking a Guinness. Like I would just handle a big old ice chest full of Guinness with that guy. I think it'd be a fun time. I think it'd be a real fun time.
Do you have anybody else besides Momoa that you'd want to have on? If you need to think about it, I can come back to you because I've got some ones I could rapid fire.
All right, yeah, give me a few moments. I think I got one, but let me think.
My hope is that these two won't necessarily be like the dream, like, you know, I'll never get them on the show, because I feel like that's sometimes what like a dream is. But I would really love to have Brandon Jones or Michael Huber on from Easy Allies. I know a lot of people said like, you should have Michael Huber on. The two of you would be so great together. So hopefully one day they'll be on in one form or another. But I think, and now just bear with me, everybody, because you guys saw all my Mission Impossible fandom last week. When Joe said Mission Impossible today, I was like, but I would really love to hear what kind of movies Tom Cruise is watching, because a while ago he came out and said he watches like one movie every day. I don't know if that's still happening, but I want to know like what movies he gravitates towards that he hasn't worked with. If he's like, man, I really like this, you know, like I just want to know like, what is he really into? Like, I think it would be a lot of fun, and talking to him about his career, especially with just, if you want to just stick to Mission Impossible, just be like, what was the stunt you were the most scared of doing? Was it, you know, being you know, in Dubai and like almost falling off that building? Like, you know, like, was that the scariest thing you did? Like, what is it? And like, what's the most fun you've ever had, you know, doing or shooting an action scene? Like, that stuff to me would be pretty rad. I think that would be a lot of fun. But another one, maybe like Robert Downey Jr. I think that'd be fun to talk to him about, just like talking to him about his like crazy meteoric rise to fame after, like, we don't have to talk about the stuff in his past, but like talking about what it's like to be basically Tony Stark now. Like, he can't go anywhere and like be like, hey, is that Robert? Like, no, it's Tony. You can say hi to Tony. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like, I just think he'd be fun to talk to, and I think he'd be very snappy with his responses, and it would just be a very fun show to be a part of, you know. He'd probably take it away from me. I'd be like, I'm the host, and he would just be like talking, and I'd be like, I'm not in control anymore. So those are the ones I think that come to me.
Tony.
See what I mean?
Yeah. Oh God. Robert Downey Jr. strikes me as like, I almost wonder if he even has to change his personality much to be Tony Stark, besides the self-indulgent portion of it, and maybe the what's the word? Maybe a little bit of the cockiness. Like, I feel like he's a decent guy, you know, but I feel like he is that quick-witted, kind of fast, off-the-cuff kind of guy.
Yeah, you just reminded me of something. Decent guys. I've heard this guy is decent, but another one I'd love to have on, Keanu Reeves. I think he would be super nice, and I think it'd be so much fun to talk to him about, you know, where the Matrix was and where John Wick is going, and how he's an action star, but how different that is, you know, like from being crazy CGI, the judo, the martial arts, and into John Wick, where it's like, yep, I have to learn how to, you know, I had to learn how to fire guns super duper well and look like I'm being legitimate and doing all these crazy, like, no cut fight scenes. Like, that would be a pleasure. Like, that would be so much fun to talk to him about. Yeah, man, killing it. You're back,
That's
baby.
a good one. And here I am just drinking Guinness with Jason Momoa.
Yeah, my man.
That could be pretty fun.
Or Coronas with Vin Diesel.
No.
You're like
Corona, man.
You like your Charger? How dare you? Or whatever. Challenger.
Lame. Oh, for sure, Momoa. I was thinking like even bigger picture. Who would I want to see?
Dwayne
Just
Johnson.
because I'd like to put them on a chopping block and really just pick them apart, like corner them. You know, who's leading up the DC charge now?
Oh, I think, I don't want to say it's Jeff Johns because he was like a creative person. I don't know. Whoever that would be, you'd want to put the DC person.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff Johns would be a good start, but I want to put them in a seat and just turn the butt warmers up real hot.
That is so great, because I thought like dream guest is someone like I'd love to have on the show. I didn't think about bringing somebody on here and being like, hey man, what are you doing? Like, you know, the problem is they can
grill them. Like, what the hell are these offshoot things, man? What are you trying to do to people?
I would love to then the next week have Kevin Feige on and be like, Kevin, is there like a big whiteboard somewhere that you're just like, we're going this way with it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you start out with this big whiteboard, like a 12-footer by 5 feet tall, and you just keep adding more 12-foot whiteboards onto that whiteboard to draw this big tree.
You probably just laugh, like, we left whiteboards ages ago. And you're like,
we can start drawing on the walls.
I want them both. I want Jeff Johns and Kevin Feige, the same ones. That way Kevin could be like, yeah, man, Jeff, what are you doing? Like, just like get on board right away. Ganging up would be so much fun. But yeah, dude, put him in the hot seat. Be like, guys, what are you doing? I'd also love to talk to like Amy Pascal, I think, who's like running a lot of the Sony stuff for like Spider-Man. Just be like, you know, you make these comments about like having Venom maybe be part of the Tom Holland Spider-Man stuff and mythos, but like you clearly haven't talked to Marvel about this at all. Like, I know you guys are trying to like get your, you know, IP back to just being you to get all the money, but come on, play ball with like the first good Spider-Man movie we've had in like a while. Like, like don't screw this up. Like, that's what I'd want to
do it. Don't you do it, or I swear to God, you won't leave here.
Oh, well, I don't want to threaten anybody, because they can literally leave at any time. Like, they can just be like, stop, they just X out, you know? But yeah, Joe, that's a good, man, that's a really, whoever's heading up DC at the time, just have them come on the show and just be like, we are fans and we love these characters, but seriously, what are you doing? Like, what is the thought process here? Is it for money? Is that what it is? That's my question. That's good.
Yeah.
Joe, you got any more that you want to go off of before we get to the next question?
Gal Gadot.
Oh my gosh, Gal Gadot is such a good pick, too. I was thinking of like superheroes I'd want on here, and I thought it was like, oh, maybe Joe pick like Dwayne Johnson because he's gonna be, Black Adam, but he's been in other
Yeah.
stuff. But dude, Gal Gadot, and again, hearing what she watches, does she watch movies? Like, was she inspired by some in the past? Like, what does she like to watch today? Does she like Marvel stuff? Does she like other DC things? Probably couldn't say if she liked either of those things. Honestly, there's probably like a contract. It's like you will not say if you like any Marvel films or that you dislike any DC films. Like, you can't be like Suicide Squad was kind of, yeah.
No, I ultimately that Wonder Woman was such a huge success, and there was so much focus on it in the character and the way she brought the character to life, and the director Patty Jenkins as well. But I feel like a lot of the focus was put on that. You kind of touched on a couple more personal notes, like she portrays this character, does an amazing job, but what's behind that to kind of create this actress that is able to do these great things, I guess. What kind of things is she into? I don't know why, but I kind of I would find it interesting to know some more personal things about her, like likes and dislikes, or is she into like watching movies or anything of that nature? I don't know. It's always interesting to learn things like that about the stars.
Yeah, well, she's a beautiful and talented actress, but she's still a human being. So it'd be cool to know, like, what are her guilty pleasures? Like, is there like a food or snack where she's like, man, I love double stuffed Oreos. All right, you can't bring those things in front of me. Like, that would be so much fun because I'd be like, cool, man, me too.
Yeah. Just more relatable, trivial items. That can always be fun. But then circle back and kind of touch on some of the things that that she's very known for. Obviously, the Wonder Woman character and all that.
Yeah. Good picks. Good picks. All right. This one comes in from Beaten Down Brian. He said, just a question for the podcast. First off, I just want to say a big congrats on reaching 100 episodes, and here's to the next 100. Thank you, Beaten Down Brian.
Thank you.
He says, since this is a big milestone, I feel like we need a high stakes question. And when I first read this, I was like, whoa. I was like, what is it going to be? So here it is. What are your top 10 or 5, up to you, games of all time? Now, Joe, I know you're not as much of a gamer, or as kind of games have been in your life as long, but do you have like a top 2 or 3 that you come off the top of your head like right away that you're like, man, this is like one of the best games I've ever played?
Yeah, bro, I can knock this out. I can knock it out. Number 1 is Overwatch. Best game, hands down, I've ever played. Will play until something beats it, and I don't see it yet. Anthem, maybe. Crossing my fingers. So Overwatch for sure. Trying to think of others that I've had a really good time on.
I'd probably say you would guess Grand Theft Auto 5, maybe.
You know what? Yeah. The only thing that sucks about it is it's just me and Drew.
You got to move on, Joe. There's so many things to play.
No, I totally know. But to be in all honesty, so I think I'd go Overwatch, GTA 5, and if Red Dead 2 is everything I hoped it would be, or hope it will be, that'll probably take its slot. But yeah, so those 2, 1 and 2. Number 3, I would probably go with Monster Hunter World.
Oh my god.
Game. Yeah, dude, I've been pleasantly surprised. That game has really impressed me thus far.
It's so good, dude. Yeah, dude, you're like
stream down behind them.
It's like a JRPG that's not so much in the RPG. I don't know, like I love that you love it because I absolutely adore it too.
Yeah, and it's a little hybrid-y, the fact of the matter is I like that it's kind of open world. You have this character, your own quarters and all that. And then the customization is really cool. The design, the aesthetics of everything, the environments, I love it. And the fact that they make all that available to you with the company of friends is hands down awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, did I say that was number 4 or 3? 3.
I think 3. Because we have Overwatch, Monster Hunter World, and Grand Theft Auto 5 right now.
Yeah. Others that I've really enjoyed.
I'm happy to help you out. I feel like you should probably pick some sort of like first-person shooter other than Overwatch. I would guess maybe Black Ops 2.
Black Ops 1 was one of my favorites when it first came out. That one's got to make the cut, so I'll call that one number 4. Thanks for reminding me on that one.
Area 51.
Area 51 on PlayStation 2, classic. Loved it. Played through the whole campaign, and I only played through it once, but I just loved it. I did. It just left me with a little bit of a feeling of satisfaction, even though the ending wasn't like, "Oh yeah, you won" or anything. It was just like you made it out, kind of a deal, and it was kind of trippy, and it was just satisfactory. But next, there are others, and I want to get them out there. I mean, we said 5 to 10, so I don't care if we take time. This is a podcast. Enjoy the listening, people.
Yeah, more content, more of that sweet
I have
content.
a voice for radio.
You just got to move closer to the mic so these people can hear you. You're all lounging back on the 100th episode. We haven't even finished the 100th episode. We haven't deserved this yet.
I'm trying to do this comfortably. When I'm more relaxed, the communication flows.
Yeah, I know because that 47 meters down.
Okay, right? You can't hear me okay?
Yeah, I think you're fine.
Okay,
You're
good,
right.
good. You know, at times I've heard you complain that I scream or something like that.
Oh, well, it's usually the problem is you will lean back and get really quiet, but then you get excited, and then that's when you're yelling into the mic. It's like, if only I could flip those things.
That's how I get people's attention.
Yeah, that's like the blood in the ears.
Yeah, so Alien or Area 51. Wow, I can't believe I'm bringing that up. It's been all these years, but still, just such a solid game for that time. I'd love to see a new rendition of it, which I think. Oh God, what's the one? It's like an abbreviation.
GTFO might be. Yeah.
GTFO. I'm hoping that's Area 51 mashed up into some cool melting pile of greatness.
Yeah, I'm just
hope
excited to
so.
stream that with you. I want to play that game with you and Drew. Like, have everyone so you hear, and I'll just like, gotta get out of here, we gotta go, kind of thing. Like, yeah,
Dude, it looks intense. Like it could be scary.
yeah, like
So-
Left 4 Dead style. Old, ha ha ha.
Yeah, Area 51 was scary, man. You get into some dark, close quarters areas, and you have nothing but the beam of your flashlight. Ooh, I had nightmares. I really did. It was kind of Doom-esque
No,
in a
for
way.
sure.
But yeah, so I'm hoping that kind of fills that void. But man, other ones, I really enjoyed Ghost Recon. I don't care what anybody says. I thought Ghost Recon was a good game. Wildlands.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. I love that they threw the Predator in there later. Even though it was a lot less than I assumed it would be. I thought it'd be a little lengthier, that little DLC pack they threw in. But I could expand on that, but we've talked about it in the past. MXGP3, one of my favorite racing games of all time. And I always really enjoyed the Forza series, regardless of which one it is. I love the realistic gameplay, the feedback and the controls, the physics. It's just beautiful. So Forza is always in the mix there. I think I'm approaching 10. I maybe have 2 more to mention. You know what? Honorable mention to my first Xbox One game, Evolve.
Oh, look at that.
Just an honorable mention. It's not like on my list or anything because it fell off. But it had legs, man. It really did. It was a really cool concept. It could have been something great.
Weak, stumpy little legs.
Yeah. It was running, but the second it hit the portion of the track that had the hurdles, legs weren't long enough,
When I think of Evolve, I just think of taps, and I just think of
yeah.
It's like, no.
But design-wise and everything, the concept, it was all very cool. There were problems. So honorable mention to that could have made the list had it gain those legs long enough to leap the hurdles. But I always think back to those monster designs, man. I loved them.
Yeah,
Loved
they're
them.
good.
But, might have to leave it there, Jimmy. For Honor, I'll give that one an honorable mention. I really thought that wasn't going to be my gag, but I picked it up later than you guys, and I started to enjoy it. I thought it was kind of fun. It was enjoyable. It's tough. It's tough, but a good game, deserving of some support. I hope it doesn't just fade away.
Sure. Is there any games like as a kid besides Area 51 that you could think back to fondly that you're like, wow, that was one of the greatest games I've ever played? Like it just stuck with you?
Pokemon, who wasn't into that as a kid?
Sure, yeah.
I feel like that's like an automatic, has to be mentioned. It's just not something I feel like I would go back to as it is or as it was. I'm not interested to go back to that. But it was solid. I loved it as a kid. It still is cool. I just, I think I'm content with leaving it at that. I did mention MXGP3, right? Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Forza. Yeah. So I think I covered my bases. Black Ops 1, thanks to you. Overwatch sitting up there, top step, baby.
Nice. Well, Joe, I decided to take it upon myself to not only write these things out on a whiteboard here, because I do have them. I will show them to you eventually. But I also told myself, you know what? I'm not going to pick games from the last couple of years. There might be one or two on here that are close to that, but I it's hard to be in that honeymoon phase. Like for me, I want to say Monster Hunter World, but I'm playing it right now. But I want to look back in 2 or 3 years and be like, yep, I'm sticking with that. Or Breath of the Wild, which I'm like, man, that was an incredible game. Or Horizon or Persona, like any of those games. We're going to do a little bit differently. This is in no particular order, and it's just supposed to be for fun. All right? I will give a brief description of each of why I love it. Number 10, Gears of War 3. Culmination of the story, 4-player co-op campaign, really revolution. Well, not revolution. It just continued the revolution that Gears started with the best third-person shooting in any game ever. Rockstar, call up the people at the Coalition and ask them how to do shooting, because guess what? They're better at it than you are, all right? But Gears of War 3 is so good. It's insanely huge. It's like a crazy blockbuster. Has sadness, has some kind of scary things, but has this over-the-top action. Horde mode was never better until that point. I mean, nowadays it's crazier, but like Gears of War 3.
We played? It was the most recent one they came out with.
Oh no, Gears of War 4 is the one we played.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Gears 4 is great, but it's solid. But this Gears of War 3 was like, it's like a 9 out of 10. All right. Next one, again, these are not in any particular order. Darksiders 2. I had to put a Darksiders game on here because I am like a huge fan of Darksiders. Darksiders 2 takes everything great about Darksiders 1 and cranks it up. Crazier open world than Darksiders 1 had. A better protagonist in my eyes. I like Death better. And also, I've always joked about playing Death in a video game, and now you get to play him. He's so cool. Badass, flying around, doing flips, taking on like 20 or 30 guys at the same time. So much fun. Great art style by Joe Madureira and great animations by his brother Steve. Steve Madureira. That's who I hope to have on the show someday. But anyway, Darksiders 2. Great. Open world games. We just keep talking about them. Just Cause 3. Not too many games have I played where I could legitimately just fly around the world for 20 minutes and just be happy. I love that game. I love going back to that game. I love streaming that game because I just get to hang out, do whatever, talk to people. And while I do that, just blow stuff up and not think about it. I absolutely love it. Such a wonderful game and such a cool iteration or just an expansion on what 2 did. Now, I know some people like Just Cause 2 a little bit better, but the addition of the wingsuit, forget about it. And then they had a jetpack. Never got to that. Sounds great. Next one up, the original Super Smash Brothers back in N64. Mario's punching Fox in the face. What more do you need? Like that right there is so cool to me. You got Kirby fighting Pikachu. Like that was like the start for me of like what multiplayer, like local multiplayer could truly be. And that is where it like really peaked. I remember just obsessing about this game. This is the one that I thought about when my parents wanted to give me an N64. They're like, do you want which game? And I was like, Super Smash Brothers. And I was like, don't get me Super Mario 64. They accidentally got me Super Mario 64. However, I did get Super Smash Brothers eventually later because I didn't want Mario because it wasn't as cool to me. I love smash people in the face, throwing swords, hanging out with my buddy Leo, cranking up to 99 lives or 99 minutes or whatever, getting Samus, Kirby, Fox, same match. I would be Kirby. I would get Samus's power, charge up the beam. He would be Fox, or vice versa. We'd wait till Samus shot her super beam at us. I would shoot, or whoever's Kirby would shoot the beam. Fox would reflect it, so Samus would get hit with 2 super blue beams of death and then go flying off the screen. Incredible. So good. Another time.
Wow.
Uneasy Alliance. I know this is Melee, so it's kind of cheating, but I was playing, I think was I Fox or something? My buddy was playing Jigglypuff and someone else was playing Kirby or something, and where it was a free-for-all, Kirby dropped down, I grabbed it with Fox, and I said, Ryan, now. And he shot the Jigglypuff across the screen and hit the Kirby or whoever else that I was holding, and we weren't on a team, and it killed that person. We were like, yeah, like uneasy, like cutthroat alliance. Anyway, moving on. N64 still. Pokemon Snap. Wonderful game. Getting to see Pokemon, like in Pokemon Stadium, was amazing, but to see them in their natural habitat, something I had dreamed about as a child, and getting to see that fully realized on the N64, so much fun. Wonderful game, takes 2.5 hours to get through, but you can just go through and just play it again and again, get the best pictures possible. I don't know why they didn't make a sequel. It's wonderful. They could do that forever. Guys, Nintendo, Pokemon Snap 2, what are you thinking? Just do it. Best on-rail shooter ever, and you're shooting with a camera, which is great. Next one, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now I know what you're thinking. No, it's not the one that came out in 2017. I'm talking way back in PS2 days, baby. I'm talking about the old school Star Wars Battlefront. That game took Battlefront, elevated it, changed it, added different classes and things, took away prone, like going prone, which is fine. But you could play as a hero finally, because in the old game you'd summon Darth Vader and he would block everything unless you shot a rocket like at his feet. And then you could knock him off the stage, which was great, like Bespin up in the clouds. But Battlefront 2, so addicting. I remember just going and playing on Hoth and just cranking up the population of both armies to like the maximum, and then just like fighting and feeling like the most badass stormtrooper ever, because you're just like, I'm gonna kill like 60 guys by myself right now. Super great. Number 4, original Kingdom Hearts. That series is crazy. I've got a big poster of it on my wall. Kingdom Hearts 2 is good, but Kingdom Hearts 1, even though the controls are a little clunky, that's the one that's memorable to me. It takes Final Fantasy plus Disney, makes it this crazy, like, beautiful Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Can't wait for Kingdom Hearts 3. Crazy story, but I love it. And fighting Titans in the Hercules Coliseum was super great. I remember my buddy Leo, again, walked me through fighting the Ice Titan, and I beat it on the first try because, like, all right, you got to glide over here, do this, do that, don't get hit by the ice. And that game was wonderful. So good. Number 3, again, I shouldn't say these in numbers, but Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. There was Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. They both kind of coincided with the actual movies, but Two Towers was great because it wasn't, I like co-op, but this one was zoomed in a little bit more on the action, so it was just you as a player. You could play as Legolas, Gimli, or Aragorn, eventually unlock Isildur himself, which is nice, but it was just a fun game to play. Like, you get to play through Fellowship and Two Towers. Drastically difficult on especially one, like the second to last level, and they had these like towers you could climb, Saruman towers, to like fight everything. It was really good. Mithril arrows are cheap from Legolas, but it's such a fun game to just kill Uruk-hai. Like, you get to play in that world, which you don't always get to with Lord of the Rings, which seems kind of weird. Like, for the time, you didn't have a lot of options, but really great. Another one that I love, I had to pick something from Assassin's Creed. I like to think Assassin's Creed Black Flag is still my favorite, even though Origins might be right up there. Black Flag took the sailing from Assassin's Creed 3, blew it wide open, gave us a better main character, just could go anywhere in the Caribbean, perfect setting. Didn't really feel like an assassin most of the time, but kind of sneaking around the compounds and plantations of that world. A lot of fun. I will say the first-person stuff back at Abstergo, which is basically like the Ubisoft office, like in that game, was stupid, but the rest of that game is wonderful, and it's it's super good. Just like the naval combat in that game is so great, and it makes me want to play Skull and Bones like really badly, because I absolutely loved that in 3. It was even better in 4, the additions to it, and yeah, I just want to go back to it sometime. But as Joe mentioned before, the number 1, which truly might be my number 1 game of all time, and it's like, should it be Gold and Silver? But it's Pokemon Red and Blue. It's the game to end all games. It was like the one that started, for me, like everything. It like was an obsession. I loved it. It's still, I still think about it from time to time. It still influences me. And I love that. I love that series. That was like at its most pure state. Was that, like, there were a few kind of crummy ones in there, but it was cool because I have a twin sister and she had red and I had blue, and like we would go through and be like, oh, you have that Pokemon, I don't have that Pokemon in my game, and all that stuff, and trading Pokemon back and forth. And yeah, it was just a pure joy. And Pokemon will always be there. And I love Red and Blue. Gold and Silver depends on the day if that one might be better, because it's like everything Red and Blue was as the end game, but then a whole other game built into it too. So yeah, here's the list if you didn't hear all of it. Oh, there we go. But again, not in any particular order, except maybe Pokemon might be up there at the top. But if we do this again sometime, and I get to include the last few years, you bet your sweet butt that Monster Hunter's probably going to be on there along with Breath of the Wild. Yeah, excellent question though, Brian. Thank you so much. High stakes. Next one comes in from Savannah Lil Red Rider. She asks us this just basic question, Joe. Thor versus Captain America. Who's the better hero, with quotation marks around better, and why? She said, note, ignore the dumb Captain America was secretly a Nazi comic thing. Joe, to you, who is a better hero? Thor or Captain America? Who's the better one? I know it's a tough question. I know it's going to eat away at you. Thinking about it. Thinking, well, Thor's got that nice hair and the hammer. Cap's looking pretty good, though, too, with that shield. Yeah.
I think Cap is painted as a picture-perfect hero. Not much to figure out. Has it down pat. Boy Scout. Straight as an arrow. No issues, right? I like Thor because, you know, he's always interested in doing the right thing, but I think he has to learn along the way to get to be a better hero. So I think I appreciate that more. I like Thor because there's multiple aspects to him, and there's a little bit of mysteriousness there where you kind of know what to expect with Cap.
Sure. So which one do you think is a better hero?
Thor.
You think Thor's a better hero?
Yep, for those reasons I said.
Okay. I disagree. Oh, I just think Captain America is, because I think that Cap is a person that didn't have power and was given power and knows how to deal with that. He was weak before, and he's learned how to be a good leader, and he actually inserted himself into bad situations when the army was like, yeah, no, we don't need you. You can just kind of go sell bonds or whatever. And he's like, no, I got to go save people. Like, you gave me these abilities and I can't use them. So he like forced himself to go into a bad place. And he always makes, like, he's not afraid to make the sacrifice, you know? And I think that's been really good, because not only has it affected himself, but it's affected his teammates. That right there, the sacrifice that we get at the end of the first Avenger with him kind of landing that bomber with all the bombs, also bleeds into Avengers, where he talks to Tony and he's like, hey, Tony, like, you know, you're not the type of guy to lay down on a wire for another guy. And he's like, I would just cut the wire. But eventually at the end of that movie, Tony Stark takes Iron Man takes a nuclear warhead and takes it into a wormhole. That's not an Iron Man thing to do. I think Cap being there and influencing him made Tony a better hero. Like, I think Cap inspires people to be better people. And that's why I think he's a better hero. Thor has learned a lot and has changed, definitely, which I like. Like in Ragnarok, you'll see it too, Joe. He's learned. He's become more intelligent, but I think Cap is just like the picture perfect hero, you know? So.
You know what? You swayed my decision, Jimmy. I was just trying to come up with some bullshit way to sound profound.
You are profound. All right.
I like what you had to say. More deserving of the power.
We'll see, but it's funny because, like they say in Spider-Man Homecoming, that gym teacher's like, I don't know, this guy might be like a war criminal or whatever. Like, depending on like where the public, if they know truly about like Cap, they're like, I don't know if he's such a good guy, you know. Yeah. All right. I wanted to end this with something very special, and our very good friend Missile Mage sent us in a quiz, Joe. A quiz for both of us, and I think it's going to be pretty fun. All right. So here's the quiz. We're going to have some questions for us both to answer to see if we can get it right, and then I'll tell you if the answers are correct. I haven't looked at the answers yet, so we'll see if this goes. First question from the quiz. The background of the first few podcasts has Jimmy and Joe both wielding weapons, but Joe has another item in his left hand. What is that item?
Shield.
I was trying to think back to it. I know you have a gun.
Isn't it the one of me charging? I've got a shield and a sword.
No, I think it's that one, the one that Yorn did a while ago, where it's like the T-Rex is like behind you and the Titan's like behind me, and I've got the sword and you've got like the gun.
Oh man!
Don't look it up. Can't look it up. Put it down.
So wait, you know the answers to these?
I don't. We'll go through all of them and then we'll check them. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to cheat.
Oh man, it's a gun and it's the one with the T-Rex. It is a gun and
I don't know if you have a grenade or a knife. I don't think so. Maybe it's nothing.
no, I thought it's the gun. I'm pretty sure I've got two hands on it. Don't
Maybe that's it. That's what I was thinking. Oh no. Okay. Anyway, so you're gonna say the gun. I might say the gun too, but we'll check it out. What movie has the basis of the very first Critical podcast? I know this one.
Oh, the very first one.
I remember this. Yeah, because I looked back at it a little while ago. I was like, what did we do the very first one on? And I'm like, oh, because another show that I listened to, The Weekly Planet, they started it before this movie, and they joked, they're like, once we get to that movie and review it or whatever, then that's when we're going to be done with our podcast. And that's when ours started. So I was like, oh yeah. You want to take a guess, Joe?
Is this something DC related?
I can't tell you. You have to make a guess.
Oh shoot. We started approximately 2 years ago.
That's correct.
Oh man. Batman vs Superman.
I think you're right. I think that's what it is. So this is question 3. On podcast 48, Kyle Bossman was the first special guest from Outside Critical Reviews to appear on the podcast. What subject was discussed on this podcast? Now, Joe, I know you didn't watch, but if I had to make a guess.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
No, here's the thing. Spider-Man Homecoming was this past summer. Would that be like 50 episodes ago? I don't think so, because 50 would be like a year.
Oh.
Right. So the first one would be it would more than likely be Marvel. It's not Spider-Man. It's whatever came before, which is driving me crazy. Was he on for Civil War? No. Maybe. Was it Captain America Civil War? I don't know. It's going to drive me nuts. I apologize. I should remember this. Would that be enough time, though, Joe? That'd be like a year ago, right?
No, it would be...
I know it's like a fun game to be like,
It'd be a little under a year, wouldn't it? May of last year?
Yeah, so it might have been Captain America Civil War, because I would have him on for like a Marvel thing.
Okay.
Probably. It's probably got to be that.
I'll go with that.
Well, I'm going to guess that too. Number 4 is about the Critties 2016, so not this Critties, but the one before. What game won Best First-Person Shooter? I think 2016 was Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
Because we all thought it was like, people were like, why isn't it Overwatch? But technically, I still stand by that Titanfall 2 is a better shooter than that.
Yeah.
On podcast number 93, you both came up with your own supervillains. What were their names? I know this one only because he brought it back up, but I want to see if you remember at least your supervillain name. And it's one, I'll give you a hint. You did use this same tagline in Ghost Recon as your name.
Glitter Weasel, baby.
Yeah. Do you remember my name? What my guy was going to be called?
Not Crimson Fox, right?
No, my supervillain name was Mr. Calamity.
Oh yeah.
I really love.
I'm glad we both remember our picks.
Yeah, I'm gonna look down at. Okay, so oh, sorry. You know what? That was it was just a confusion there. The first picture on the podcast is actually not Joe. That's Thomas, believe it or not, because Thomas is holding a katana and a mask. He's holding an Anbu Black Ops mask from Naruto. But I can see where that'd be he kind of looks like you, maybe, Joe, but not necessarily. Batman vs Superman. Number 3, we talked about what we were looking forward to in 2017. I talked about that with Kyle. So Titanfall 2 and Mr. Calamity and Glitter Weasel. Yep.
That's great.
Time for some multiple choice, Joe. This is so great. Okay. Number 6, Evolve was the very first review posted on Critical Review's YouTube channel. What score did it get? Which, by the way, That is what I tell people to go back and look at before they're like, hey, you stole the colors and the font for Easy Allies. This was a year before that got closed down. Go check out that Evolve review. I beat them to this. But what score did it get? A 6, a 7, or an 8? Joe, you want to take a guess?
I think it got an 8 at
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
I think it got an 8. Yeah.
And that's all you could do is review it at the time. Number 7, which podcast number was first one to include timestamps in the description? 8, 13, or 18? This is such a funny question. I'm going to guess 18.
Yeah,
13
it
is
was
my favorite number.
later. It wasn't right away.
Well, I haven't seen. We'll come back to these. On which podcast did you first use the adapt and overcome sign off? Number 19, 24, or 27? Ugh, I want to guess 19.
I want to guess 19 too, but I think it's 24.
Okay. Number
Why
9.
are you laughing?
This next one's super funny. How many times has the word Overwatch been included in the podcast title? 4, 6, or 8 times? That is so funny. Oh my goodness.
8 times for sure.
I'm gonna guess 6. What was the first podcast to include face cams? 22, 27, or 32? I'm gonna guess 22 because maybe 27. I don't know if it's both face cams. What do you think?
Yeah, that's tough. All the numbers are so close. We at first did it via. We first started doing audio recorder.
Yeah,
and I would share that file with you.
We've come a long way since then, which is great.
Yeah, but how did we first start doing the video? Was that on Skype?
Did we
how
do
did
it
we capture it?
I don't know if you had to like capture separately and send it to me, and then I had to put them to. No, we didn't do that either. We must have done it through this first because it jumps back and forth for us. Right.
Yeah, but before that, I think you had a video and I didn't. I just
Maybe
had
not.
audio.
Maybe.
Right? I
don't know. Take a guess.
No, podcasts normally don't even have face cams, so you're welcome.
What can we say except you're welcome.
What were the options again?
22, 27, and 32.
I probably wagered a bet like 27.
Okay. So first off, Evolve was 8. Which one was the first one to include timestamps? That would be 13, episode 13. Okay. So that's not so bad.
Okay.
Which podcast Adapt and Overcome came first? That was number 19. All right, good.
I was off on that. I did not guess that.
How many times the word Overwatch been included in the podcast title? It's so funny to me. 8 times. I'm sorry, it was a buzzword, baby. That Overwatch, we talked about it a lot. 8 times. We're probably Overwatch new map or Overwatch new skin or Overwatch expansion.
That's what I thought. So I went the higher number.
Yeah. What was the first podcast to include face cams? And that would be number 27. Okay, that's probably that's not so bad.
What were the other options for that one? It was 22, 27?
22, 27, 32.
Oh, so I guess 27, didn't it?
Sorry, we were a little bit late on that, guys, but look how far we've come. Now, the last one. This is really good. Which scored higher? Now, Joe, this is more on you than it is on me, but maybe it's more on me. But these are reviews. So, Titanfall 2 versus Gears of War 4. I know this one.
Wait, what?
Which one scored higher, Titanfall 2 or Gears of War 4? Which one scored higher? For reviews that we did. Huh?
Titanfall 2.
Titanfall 2? Is that your final answer? Yeah?
Yeah.
I can't. So you're covering up your face. I can't tell. Yes, you're right. Titanfall 2 was a 9. Gears of War 4, 8.5. So
wow.
You should check out all these Check out all these reviews, though. I'm not be giving scores away, but you should go check out the reviews. For Honor versus Destiny 2. I know this one too.
See, now I feel like your perception of those two games has changed a lot. It's like,
Don't think about it. Just which one do you think at the time? Remember, they're a timestamp, because like you can only review what you see in front of you
Yeah,
for
I
the
feel
first
like
couple.
Destiny 2 beat it out.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm pretty positive For Honor. Let me check. I'm trying not to see all the answers. 10, 11. For Honor, once again, 9 versus 8.5.
Okay.
I still think For Honor is a heck of a game, but I think that it's those server issues is what killed a lot of people. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. Oh, and I know that. Oh, God, do I keep doing this? This must be a commentary on like how I review things. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 versus Logan. Joe, which one scored higher?
Logan.
It's Guardians. It's got to be. Yep. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, 9. Logan, 8.5. He's picking all the 9s.
Here's a little.
Here's the thing about Logan. It's
Well,
so good.
but he was smart to pick ones that were like close.
So
on
good.
playing
Mr. Mage,
field.
I love this. And this is not a commentary. People are like, Logan's like a 9. It's like a perfect film. It's not. It is like
It's
a
not.
doppelganger villain, first off, spoiler alert. But like it's like a sad movie. Like I never want to watch Logan again. And Guardians does everything Guardians is supposed to do. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to say.
Guardians is good. I finally watched the second one.
Oh, yeah, did you like it? Yeah, we maybe talked about
Not
it.
recently, but yeah, we probably talked about it. Yeah, I liked it.
All right, Joe. Suicide Squad versus Warcraft. Oh God.
Warcraft beat it. God, I better be right.
I hope Warcraft better be right. Yeah. 14. Oh gosh, I don't even want to look at this. Okay. Ooh, Warcraft 7 versus 6. Thank God. I stand by that. Warcraft is a better film, and people will be like, Warcraft. It's like, no, Suicide Squad is I gave it a 6. See? All right. In the reviewing world, if you do it out of 10, if you give anything like 5 or less, everyone's like, it's garbage. But like, if I give something like a 6, I'm like, but if I give something like a 2, it's like, ah. So anyway, keep going. This is I adore you right now, Miss Midge. This is so good. Doctor Strange versus Thor Ragnarok. Holy crap! I should remember this.
They're so close. Though.
I'm thinking of the red blocky numbers in my mind. I'm like,
yeah, I'm gonna roll with Doctor Strange. Beat it.
I think I gave Thor Ragnarok a better score. Let's look at number 15. And it is... Oh my gosh, I was wrong. You're right. Doctor Strange, 8.5 versus 8. I thought they were super close. This is really good. This is very good. And I like that.
You say I haven't seen all the reviews. I've seen them all.
That's a lie. I think you just are guessing. Oh, this is... Oh my gosh, that's such an old review. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales versus The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
What the hell? The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, Henry Cavill was in it. It was it's a spy movie. It's based on like an old TV show.
Oh, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. won. Beat it out.
Yeah, I don't remember. 16. I'll say The Man from U.N.C.L.E. as well. Take a guess there. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. 7 versus 6. All right. Yep. It was a rough year for me. Oh, sorry. I was thinking back to Pirates. Is just I saw Pirates, Mummy, and Transformers all in like the span of 2 or 3 weeks, and I was like, I want to vomit. No. 17. Oh gosh, Transformers: The Last Night versus The Mummy.
Dude, Transformers for sure lost that battle.
So you think The Mummy's the winner?
I think The Mummy is the winner.
Okay, good. Because I was gonna say I can nearly guarantee. Yep, The Mummy 5.5 versus 4.5. I completely stand by that. I think that Transformers was. I was like, I never sighed a movie, but I was almost like checking my fake watch. I was like, all right, let's wrap it up. Cade Yeager blocked a sword from another Transformer.
I know.
So stupid. Last one here: Avengers: Age of Ultron versus Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Oh man, calling me out. I love it. I know. I'm sorry. I won't look at it.
Age of Ultron.
I think I gave Age of Ultron Yep. I gave Age of Ultron a 9 versus 8.5 for Last Jedi. I think going back to Age of Ultron, it's probably not like a 9, but I think it does everything Avengers 1 did. And plus, I like the villain better. I don't like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, though. But, all right, Joe. Last little bit here. Which review score is the odd one out? So what's the one that one of these things is not like the others? My gosh, this is good. He's mixing movies and games. Bravo. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, X-Men Apocalypse, and Assassin's Creed Origins. Which one is the odd one out?
Say it again.
Mission Impossible Rogue Nation or Mission Impossible 5, X-Men Apocalypse, and Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm still bothered about the Kyle Bossman thing. I should have known that. I thought it was a movie, but it wasn't a movie necessarily. Okay.
Oh, man. Dude.
I think I know.
I don't know enough about Assassin's Creed, but, you know...
Oh, you watch all the reviews, huh, Joe? You watch all those reviews? That's right, you don't. I gotcha.
I don't know. Just to throw out... Excuse me, I did not mean to yawn, even though I just had a Red Bull. What's wrong with me?
Why do you always do this? Those Red Bulls kill you. Anyway.
Caffeine has no effect on me.
Take a guess. I think I know.
I don't. I'll say Mission Impossible.
I'm pretty sure it's X-Men Apocalypse. Let's look. 19... 16, 17, 18.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense. Okay.
Nope. Sorry. Assassin's Creed Origin, 8.5. Dang, I gave 8s to those other two.
Oh, wait. So we're saying which one has the score?
Which one isn't which one isn't the same score as the other ones?
Oh, wow. Holy crap. Good on him. This is unreal.
I forgot. X-Men Apocalypse probably isn't an 8, but Mission Impossible Rogue Nation is definitely an 8.
Yeah, X-Men, no.
Last one here, Joe. Wonder Woman, Final Fantasy 15, and Rogue One, A Star Wars Story.
Rogue One. Wait, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is...
I think it's Final Fantasy 15. Yes, it is. Final Fantasy 15. Got a 9 from me. 8.5s for the other two.
Shame on you.
I stand by that. I think Wonder Woman's a great movie, but I don't remember why there's something I didn't like. Oh, yeah, the CG in that movie gets to be pretty...
Oh, at the end there and all that, yeah.
That whole, and Ares is weird. And
yeah, but in my mind, I'd take off 1 point for that.
Yeah, sure.
Easily.
Sure.
Easily.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, Missile Mage, for writing in. That was incredible. If you guys, you don't have to take that much time to put together a question like that, but that's what I mean when I say podcast games. If you guys ever have a game like that you want us to play to put together, I absolutely love it. And it doesn't need to be self-indulgent where it's like what reviews, this is good for the 100th episode, but any game like this to play, like Missile Mage, like a round of applause, buddy. Like that was incredible. Like that was like you put that together. Like that took a lot of time. I really appreciate you. Check him out on Twitter and be like, hey man, you did a great job. That was excellent. Like it's like a legitimate test. There's like a quiz part and there's it's like these are just write-in questions. There's the multiple choice, the odd one out. Well done. Well done. My goodness. That was excellent. Thank you so much.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you guys ever have a question, a topic, or a game like this for us to play, all you have to do is tweet the hashtag Critical Podcast to either of us. I am you can find our main one at @GoCritical, or you can find me personally. I'm at JimmyGood013. If you want to tweet at Joe Lever, you can tweet at
Lever_627. That's Lever, just like Beaver, only with an L.
Exactly. Or you can send any of these types of games to us. We're just at GoCriticalReviews@gmail.com, like this one was sent to us. So thank you so much. Or post it on our Discord. That's a great place too. We're streaming here. I think I moved it more to like Tuesdays and Fridays, but just keep it locked on the afternoons to see. But yeah, streaming those afternoons and then Levi sometimes at night if you can. So yeah, check us out at twitch.tv/criticalreviews. I want to thank a few people. I want to thank This Is Dalem, the guy who did this amazing theme song for us a long time ago. And that is what's been playing at the beginning, the end of these songs. Very good. Thank you so much, Dalem, for this. What a treat. What a pleasure. Really appreciate it. And truly, Critical Reviews and this show wouldn't be the same without the one, the only, the glorious, the fantastic, the magnificent Joran Evers. Joran, the guy who does the art here for the show. Like everything you pretty much see on this channel, besides a few things here and there, that's Joran. And if you want to check him out, you check him out at Naraj28 or at Jade Circle Art, or check him out on his Instagram. You can get a great commission, great price, wonderful guy. Absolutely love him. He inspires me. And he's just fantastic. Go tweet at them. Go tweet at all those people. Tell them that they're great. All right. You don't even have to say it's from us, but maybe you should because they might be confused. But if you want to support Joran and you want to support this show for another 100 episodes, another 1,000 episodes, please check us out on patreon.com/criticalreviews. We're throwing in $1. That helps tremendously. And if you throw in $1 or any amount, you can get one of these cool avatars you're probably seeing pop up on the screen here with your face on it. And if you're at the $100 level, you can get one that's fully customizable, and we'll talk about you during the show. So thank you guys so much. And, the biggest thing you've supported us is just watching the show. That's huge. Like sharing it with a friend, liking, subscribing, sharing, doing all that. That really helps us. We're going to have merchandise soon. Like you can get this shirt soon. And I hope that that's what people like to see. So, Joe, thank you for being on like 95 episodes. Like, that's a lot of episodes. Like, we'll do this again for like 105 or 110. I'm like, Joe, you've probably been on 100. But yeah, man, that's a huge time commitment. And I thank you, because honestly, the show wouldn't be the same or really exist in any format without you being here to kind of get it going. So thank you, man. I really appreciate the time you put into this thing.
Jimmy, honestly, it's a pleasure, my friend. It's been fun. Good 100 years, and here's to 100 more.
100 years? Perfect. Yep. We're doing this for 100 years. That'd be incredible. We're gonna have to move closer together. We're gonna have to like get a legit podcasting area. And that's
100 years.
The hope is down the line here, we're going to keep upgrading stuff. And that's what Patreon does, is like helps us get better mics and stuff, and cameras. Like Joe's got a camera now. He's got a mic now. If you go way back to episode 1, like, we're starting like at the very beginning, but thanks to your guys' help, we have gotten, more things, better things. Hopefully we're going to get better lighting. We might even play around with green screens one day. It's kind of like what you guys want to see if you're sick of just seeing the rooms that we live in. Like, if you want to see something kind of crazy, that's the best way to support us, is to go throw us a buck over there, or however much. But we appreciate you spending your time listening to us, hanging out with us, sending in questions, tweeting at us. We love it. We love you. We appreciate you so much. You guys don't even know. But thank you. And yeah, here's to at least another 100 more. I'm looking forward to it. So next week, well, next week we're coming back with some Black Panther, baby, and I am stoked. I can't wait to see.
It's gonna be a big one for the 101st.
Yeah, 101. I think we're gonna go back to basics. Like 101.
101. It's a city in Alaska, exactly 101 miles north of the Alaskan Canadian border.
See, like stuff like that. I didn't know that. This show's educational. Everyone should be watching it. It just cuts back to that 47 meters down review. We were like, where you get like some weird stuff. We used to do animal facts.
Okay. I know we're in the middle of a closeout here, conclusion, but you should really put timestamps down at the bottom for 47 meters down, Joe's very long synopsis. Probably skip this.
No, I'm not going to do it. That's Timekillers, baby. It's part of Timekillers, and I'm not going to.
I went through every detail of that darn thing.
And there were this cobblestone road, but one of the stones was upturned, which I think is a metaphor for the film. But yes, like I said, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Follow us on Twitter, hang out with us there, hang out with us on Discord, hang out with us over on Twitch, hang out with us in the comment section, because guess what? I read all the comments. I respond to all the comments, so please hit us up down there. We also have a Facebook group you should hang out with too. So thank you guys so much. Love and hugs to all of you. Big bear hug, just like, okay, it's too long. Okay, sorry.
Circulation, Jimmy. Circulation.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. And as I said back on episode 19, hold on. Yep, 19. Back on episode 19. Just remember to adapt and overcome. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.